Ready?
Yes, I am.
Good morning. Welcome back to the Roasted Chestnuts.
That's right.
We're here, as always, on our Saturday morning. Can you pull that in any closer to you?
Yeah.
Oh, there we go. On our Saturday morning stream.
Oh, it's completely
Ah! All right. Well, you know.
I'm sure they can hear us fine.
Yeah. I noticed we do need two microphones.
Yeah, probably.
They should be closer to us.
Yeah.
And one for the iPhone. Hi, yeah, we're here. We're here ready to play some chess as usual. Father and son chess squad. That's our concept. Mm-hmm. We talk chess. We play play chess.
We play chess. We talk movies. Sometimes we eat brunch. Probably not going to have any food today, but
no, unless we get order crazy in the middle of all this.
It's mostly just about us hanging out, doing our Saturday/Sunday morning thing, and inviting you all to join us.
Yeah. Sometimes we have some friends call in. Today, we're talking about the movie Fresh, an incredible chess movie we watched this week on the recommendation of my friend Rashidi Harper.
I'd say probably the first chess movie we really watched. All the movies we watched contain chess to some degree, but this felt more like a movie about chess.
I mean, it was a movie. We're just gonna spoil the shit out of the movie Fresh.
We're gonna spoil the shit out of Fresh.
1994.
And last night's episode of WandaVision, but that'll be later.
2021.
So we'll be talking about Fresh first.
Wait, are we not live? All right, we might have just done a whole intro.
If you
already saw the intro, just come back in 1 minute.
Yeah.
Because good morning.
No,
welcome.
We got 0 viewers, so we'll just do it again.
Yes.
Good morning. Welcome back to Roasted Chestnuts, the Chessnuts podcast streaming scenario.
Yes,
we father and son. We play chess. We always played chess throughout our lives, often during a morning meal.
Yes.
And so we're bringing you in to join us
in
live for our morning chess.
Espresso today. Chesspresso. We talk about movies. We play chess. Mm-hmm. Should we start getting the pieces out and stuff?
Yeah.
Setting up the board. All right.
Today we're going to be talking about the 1993 film Fresh.
Yes.
Going to be fully spoiling it. We're going to have
fresh spoilers, 1994.
And then we're going to have fresh spoilers for WandaVision afterwards.
Yeah.
But don't worry, we're not going to be spoiling that until it's clearly marked on the screen. So if you just want to stay for Fresh.
I'm almost feeling like WandaVision, even like talking about it maybe a little more even after today. Like why not?
Sure.
I feel like there's a lot to talk about with WandaVision. I want to rewatch some stuff and think some stuff through. This week we watched WandaVision, Fresh, and also Avengers Age of Ultron, which is kind of like the setup for WandaVision.
Yeah, it's like the origin of both those characters.
And that was fascinating and fun.
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was really good. I remembered it being very forgettable. When I first saw it, and I didn't really remember anything about it. I know I saw it before because some of those scenes were a little bit familiar. A little bit. But I could be confusing.
Yeah, you could be confusing it with a lot of...
like Giant Iron Man beating up the Hulk. Sure. That was in that Giant Iron Man.
Yeah, well
he was in Wakanda at some point, beating up a bunch of people.
But that was cool because that was actually Bruce Banner when he couldn't turn into the Hulk because he was impotent, I guess, and he wore the Hulk costume to be the Hulk without being the Hulk. Anyway. Yeah.
Anyway, and also it led us last night to watch the second half of Iron Man, which kind of came up on our Disney Plus, which had a chessboard in it, which opens us up to all Marvel Universe now, which I guess we already were. What was our excuse for watching WandaVision and relating that to this? Just that we wanted to?
No, we were just watching it and we thought it'd be top. It's something people are watching.
Well, now it's related to chess.
Yeah.
Because there was a chessboard in Jeff Bridges.
The very first movie, there's a chessboard, so that sets up. If we're going by X-Men rules.
Yeah. And, certain crossovers that happened in WandaVision. Oh! Wait, what? We've already talked about that. But anyway, okay, fine.
Maybe someone's joining us for the first time.
All right. And nobody is. We have 0 viewers. Let's just make sure we're recording. Okay. All right. Good. Everything's happening.
So when are we having Rashidi on?
I'm going to call Rashidi in about 10 minutes.
Okay. So should we talk about the movie a little bit first?
Yeah, let's talk about the movie a little bit first.
All right.
Fresh. I just got a couple of basic notes about
All
it. Boaz Yakin.
That's the director?
The director. I'll say it again since you coughed on that, just in case anybody didn't catch it. Y-A... yeah, fun movie. I mean, fun? No.
There were, it had a very... I'd say the tone was very fascinating because it was mostly pretty intense.
Yeah.
With some comedy, some comedic stuff. It felt like just natural stuff. Like, sometimes in real life, even when things are intense, sometimes someone will say something funny, but it wasn't like a funny moment. It was just like, their characters felt very real, and sometimes some of them would just say something funny.
Some of that darker comedy.
Yeah, exactly.
Like there's a lot of comedy in the Goodfellas and the stuff like
Right.
that, but it's a little...
It's a lot darker than Goodfellas.
Yeah. I mean, to me, the first half was a little bit like an intense urban commentary drama about, like, drugs and situations and stuff. And then the second half was like a thriller, whodunit, who's doing it.
Right. Well, I guess we should lay it out a little bit.
Yeah.
It's about this kid named Fresh.
Yes, the main character is named Fresh. He's played by Sean Nelson. Sean Nelson. Really good performance.
Yeah, oh yeah, he was so good.
Better than really good. Saying really good is not doing it justice. That was a
one
fucking hell of a
child
performance.
actor performances where you're just like...
Yeah, man. That kid was tapping into something.
And he had some friends that were varying degrees of good, I'd say, at acting.
Yeah, they were fine.
Some of them had moments of great acting, and some of them had moments of bad acting.
Yeah.
But they were kids. They were like 12 or whatever.
Yeah, I like that kid. You're right. He wasn't the best actor, but I really like the kid that came in and like beat him up in class, or tried to jump on him in class. His friend.
Well, that was the one. Well, that's funny because we thought. I thought that kid looked like a young Giancarlo Esposito.
He did.
And then I was like, "Oh, is that Giancarlo Esposito?" As a joke.
Right.
And then then in the next scene we saw Fresh, the main kid, walking into an apartment. And you were like, this kid is more like a Giancarlo Esposito type. And I was like, yeah, totally. And then, about 5 minutes later, who should appear in the film but Giancarlo Esposito himself?
Yeah.
As a terrifying criminal.
Yeah.
As he often portrays.
Although I saw him in some of the reviews, like Roger Ebert is like, not that bad of a guy for a drug dealer. I was like, okay.
I would say he was...
Or like a drug kingpin,
less bad
master guy.
than a lot of the other guys in the movie.
Yeah. So, this kid, Fresh, he's got a lot going on in his life. We start off... Well, there's a great opening sequence that's like almost like an old photo of a field and then a road. It's like still frames.
Oh, that's right.
And then like a cabin.
Yeah.
And then a couple buildings. And then it's a city. And then like... shops and then signs and
then,
this
like,
urban
decay
stuff. Yes, and decay.
And vines and rubble and
and then it kind of leaves us where we are in like 1994. That was pretty effective.
And so the opening sequence is him going around in the morning picking up bags of...
I later found out I think that's heroin.
Heroin? Okay.
Yeah, come to find out, it's multiple drug dealers dealing multiple kinds of drugs in competition with each other, which kind of becomes clear. The only weakness in the movie for me was that, like, it was a little hard to understand what the different factions were.
Yeah.
And, like, apparently there's two factions, and then Giancarlo Esposito is a separate... What, do I always say that wrong?
You always say it wrong.
Esposito?
That was probably the most right you've ever said it, though.
I'm getting closer and closer with that each decade of his career. But he apparently is on kind of top, and there's two other factions. There's the heroin faction, and then the like cocaine-ish, crack-ish faction.
Okay. Well, I think my biggest problem with the movie goes along with that, which is it relied a little too heavily on the audience remembering every single character's name, and then they'd be talking about this guy went to this guy and made a deal with him, and then I was just like, which guy is that?
Yeah.
I think a lot of movies have that problem.
Yeah.
Because whoever wrote it obviously knows the characters very well.
Yeah. It's hard to... Well, anyway, it's a very complicated movie, though, and I feel like it's actually very clear.
Well, he's a drug dealer.
For how complicated.
Let's set this up.
Did we not say that already?
I think we were getting into the opening scene. The opening scene, he's a little kid. He's like 12 or 12.
Yeah.
And, he's going around in the morning to all these, a couple different apartments to pick up the stuff.
Yeah.
To sell later, but he's also trying to get to school.
Which doesn't fully make sense to me, because it doesn't seem like usually the clients or the... Like, it seemed like that woman in the kitchen is somebody he'd be selling drugs to, not picking drugs up from. But what do we know?
I mean, based on movies, drug dealers have all kinds of crazy distribution systems.
You're short, but it wasn't like she was short money. Right. She was short packs of heroin.
I mean, it could be something like, it's always this kind of thing where it's like, if you have, like, kilos of heroin to move, then if you, like... whatever is a triple felony amount, if you distribute just below that to each of your people or something, then it's always that kind of thing.
Okay.
I don't.
This kid knows. This kid.
Yeah. I've been through.
He's chopped up some bricks.
Yeah. Anyway.
We were just talking about the beginning. Right. He's slinging drugs around town, trying to get to school on time.
It seems like he has to be doing this drug thing for whatever reason, money or...
You see his home situation.
Yeah.
He's living foster-ish, like his aunt has like 11 kids or something living in the house. It's nice. She keeps it up. She's benevolent, full of love. There's like a couple... It's interesting, the women in this movie and what they're about. Yeah. It's not that great as far as a Bechdel test or a movie for women, etc. With representation, because basically there's the angelic aunt and the sister in need of like rescuing. I don't know what that character is. I'm sure there's a corollary in Greek mythology for what the sister was all about.
Okay, so all right. Well, okay. Then around the end of the first act, you start getting to know this kid, and then he shows up at the park where everyone's playing chess, and there's this guy who's beating everyone at chess for money. Yeah. And then Fresh sits down and challenges him, and then like he wipes the floor with him within like 5 moves or something, and then there's like a cutaway to Samuel L. Jackson, who's sitting on a bench,
the sidelines,
looking, and then the next scene, he's playing chess with Samuel L. Jackson, and it turns out Samuel L. Jackson's his dad.
And you're kind of wondering a lot: is that his dad, or is it not his dad? Is it a guy he calls dad?
Right.
But it's his dad.
It's his dad.
Yeah.
It's an interesting dad because he's not like the traditional definition of absent.
No. And he's also not the traditional hard pushing a kid to learn a thing dad,
And he's not the traditional abusive dad.
Right.
He's not.
But he is also all of those things.
Exactly. But it's more, subtle, or he's in some ways he's a somewhat decent father figure.
Right.
And in a lot of other ways, he is a terrible role model.
I mean, he's a guy who recognizes... Apparently, they're not even supposed to be seeing each other.
Right,
So these
some kind of legal or just
these trips to the park are under the... They're slipping them in so they can see each other, father and son.
But the dad doesn't want to not see him.
Right.
He's not like trying to avoid seeing him. Or he's even like, let's hang out for the afternoon, come back to my trailer and we'll, just chat or whatever. Yeah. So he's not like... Mr. doesn't want to see.
Well, that seemed like an extra step for them to go back to the trailer, and it kind of was indicating like we're in the Act 3. Things are kind of going beyond the normal rules now. When they did that, I felt like that was one of the crossing points in the movie. The other was that big game of chess where the dad really laid out life. I mean, to me, it seemed like what Sam Jackson was really trying to do was like, I have a limited amount of time with my kid. I'm gonna hit him as hard as I can with lessons that are gonna help him in his life, practically speaking.
But what I thought was interesting, and going back to that, he has a whole thing. Well, he's giving the kid chess advice the whole time, and it doubles his life advice because it's all a metaphor.
More than doubles. I mean, that's the strength of this movie, is that the chess actually really relates to the plot.
Exactly. So he keeps. So the kid, he says something about spends too much time protecting his queen.
Yeah.
You got to be able to sacrifice your queen. Your
Yeah.
queen's just a pawn. That
Everybody on the board is just a pawn.
Exactly.
Very
and
cool.
Then,
it's time to call Rashidi.
All right.
But go ahead.
And
finish
then,
this point.
Basically, I feel like what happened at the end was he learned how to win without sacrificing.
Yes, that was the amazing thing.
Yeah.
Samuel Jackson basically told him, you have to sacrifice your queen, which is his sister. And his sister's so strung out on drugs and stuff, you think, and she's like living between drug dealer and drug dealer, even though he's always trying to save her and get her out, and she's kind of refusing help. And so they set it up like she's a lost cause.
Right.
And he kind of sacrifices Chucky at some point.
Yeah, Chucky, who is a piece of some kind.
We'll get to Chucky.
His friends, and he sacrifices a lot of chess pieces.
Yeah, we got to talk about the dog.
Pieces.
I still haven't quite figured that out. But the sister, you think, damn, he's going to get out, but it's going to cost him his sister.
He has to sacrifice
but
his queen.
then he one-ups it all. He one-ups even fucking his genius dad.
Yeah.
And manages to pull... All right, let's call Rashid.
All right, wait, real quick, right before we do. And then it ends.
Yeah.
He basically gets revenge on all these drug dealers for all this crazy stuff.
Yes.
He basically is a puppet master.
Yes.
He tricks all these dudes into killing each other.
Yes. He winds up with the drugs, the
Yeah.
money, the sister, the deal with the government.
He wins. He completely wins. He gets protection. He gets his sister out. He gets everyone either killed or arrested.
Yeah.
And then at the very end, he sits down with Samuel L. Jackson. And Samuel L. Jackson's like, "All right, you ready to beat me at chess?"
Yeah.
And then it cuts back to Fresh, and he's just bawling. Tears streaming down his face. And he's been so stoic the entire movie.
Yeah.
And it's shocking. And it's just, I mean, to me, it was just like, he's been through it, and he's always been stoic, but now he just needs his dad.
Yeah.
And
Sam Jackson's feeling it.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
He's not like, stop crying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sam Jackson's like, oh, shit.
Yeah. And then it ends. And you don't
boom,
know what
cuts to black. Really strong.
Amazing. All right.
Hey, Siri. Call Rashidi Harper on speakerphone, please. Wait, is this thing trying to Siri me? All right.
Let's cover the board.
Hello?
Rashidi, it's Ford and Indy.
Hey,
Hi.
hello.
Party people, what's happening?
We are on our chess round right now, and we just introduced everybody. I mean, we've got one viewer right now. It's probably Maggie. But we get about 20 views throughout the week. That's our zone right now. But
That's awesome, man. It's not about the views; it's about the experience,
Exactly.
right?
yes.
We're having fun.
But just to introduce you to everybody, this is my longtime friend Rashidi Harper. He is he's a director extraordinaire, director of Hip Hop Uncovered, currently on Hulu, and was it Fox? FX. FX. I have it written down right here. That's his latest work. But Rashidi Harper, my friend Maggie Friedman, who's also a big supporter of this show, often says that when you're doing
Shout out to Maggie.
Shout out to Maggie. When you're doing stuff in Hollywood, like the only way to really be on the A-list, to really get stuff going, is to make it undeniable. And Rashidi, your stuff has always... Now, unfortunately, making it undeniable is no guarantee it's going to be a success. It's going to... there's all these other factors. But, just to start off, to get into the game, and that's you. That's been you the whole time. All your work is completely undeniable. I mean... There's so many other factors in what comes and what goes, but Hip Hop Uncovered is a big hit for so many reasons. I don't know. Just briefly, if you haven't watched Hip Hop Uncovered, it's a history lesson. It's an American story. It's a story about the music business, the cultural shift of the 80s and 90s. It's a story a lot of people kind of think they know, but Hip Hop Uncovered really presents the angles, the personal... Anyway, it's great. It's really great. I love it. I'm a huge fan. We've been talking about it a lot. But hi.
Hey. That was an awesome setup. I thank you. Thank you for that.
Oh, you've been, you're my number one guy all these years. My favorite person to work with. I've edited a lot of stuff that Rashidi's directed over the years, and it's always a fucking blast and a creative, step forward for me. And that's the most valuable thing.
Yeah, I want to say that once, when you're in a creative space, the best thing you can do is be with people that inspire you and that help you get your dreams out or get your ideas out or whatever they are. And that's one of the main reasons, outside of also liking to spend time with you, but that I love working with you. It's always been fun, and it's always been fruitful.
Yeah.
And we get down, like the chemistry is what it is. That's so fun about us in the edit bay.
Yeah, it is.
Lots of laughs.
Yes. Yeah, lots of big talks, lots of laughs, lots of scheming.
Yeah, always.
Lots of life talk. So yeah, but hey, on your recommendation, we watched Fresh, and it blew us away. I mean, when was the last time you watched it?
It's been years, but I'm not gonna lie. I was trying to go through YouTube this morning because I haven't seen it in such a long time.
Yeah.
And I failed at my overall thing, but the fact that I haven't seen it in a long time actually speaks to how good of a film it is, because I remember it.
Yeah.
Like as soon as you said chess movies, I was like, oh, well, Fresh, that's like probably my favorite chess movie.
Yeah. It is also my favorite chess movie.
Sure.
I mean, there is no movie. We've watched a bunch of chess movies now. This is about our 8th time doing this or whatever. And we watch a bunch of movies that have chess in them one way or the other. But this is the one that the chess related to the plot, like, most strong. Yeah. And I don't know. It was a lot of times you're watching a chess movie and you're thinking, hopefully they're going to do basically what they did in Fresh. It is incredible, dude. And I was so moved. I mean, when that girl gets shot. First of all, when the kid gets shot on the court, I wasn't expecting that, even though I sort of, once it happened, remembered that happened from the 90s, even though I didn't see it before. I sort of remembered that was a thing. But, man, that was so strong. I mean, this kid is just playing some smooth basketball. I don't know if you remember. And then that other dude comes and just can't take it anymore and just shoots him down.
Well, it's like a pickup game, and it's like everyone's getting in this dude's face because he's playing super dirty, but this kid's beating him anyway. This, like, little kid, young teenager kid.
Yeah.
And, seems like he's getting pissed because he's just losing fair and square, even though he's playing dirty. Even he's playing dirtier than everyone else, he's still losing, and then he just gets fed up and starts just popping these. He shoots the kid that was beating him, and then
everybody scatters.
Yeah.
Fresh stays there.
Yeah.
And then this camera slowly follows him as he's moving across the court, and the girl's laying there. You kind of realize that's about what's about to happen just as you see it. And she's choking out on her own blood, and he just kneels down and tries to stop the bleeding but it's her kicking leg, man. Her leg is kicking, and they show it just the sneaker kind of scraping on the asphalt over and over again. And so then it starts going slower, and it's like, oh, fuck.
Well, and, she was introduced earlier, and she's so sweet and just very sweet.
And she's like the only person he opens up to in the entire movie, even though he's very standoffish with her. Fresh really gives her the time of day. Anyway.
It seems like she was the only one that was on his level, intelligence-wise.
Right.
Out of all his friends and stuff. So that's why he was, like, reluctantly enjoying her company.
So, Indy, what was the most surprising thing about the film that you got out of it, A? And B, did you have any hesitations of going back to 1994 to watch a chess movie?
Oh, no hesitations about that. We just watched Ghost Dog, which is from the same era, right?
Yeah. 90s. 99, 94.
That as far as shocking, that scene was the most shocking. Overall, I couldn't believe how well they pulled the chess together, pulled the chess and the plot together and made they made the kid such a genius puppet master and were able to just use the movie as a metaphor. The whole second half, I guess, of the movie was a chess metaphor.
Yeah.
Where he was, playing all his pieces.
Yeah.
People on his side and the people on the other side. He was, pitting them against each other in all these different perfect ways that.
Dude, it was hardcore. Even when you know what he's doing, you don't know how far he's going.
Yeah.
And Rashidi, I don't know if you remember this, but at some point, Sam Jackson kind of basically advises him, you have to stop. We were just talking about this before you got on. You can't always be protecting your queen. Your queen is just another pawn. It's just a tool. And that's a corollary with the sister, who they set up as like strung out and basically a lost cause. Mm-hmm. And it's almost like Sam Jackson is telling him, you might have to sacrifice your sister in order to get out of this whole thing.
Yeah.
And you think he's going to do it because he sacrifices his Chucky in a way, his friend.
And
the dog. But then he doesn't. He one-ups everybody.
Yeah.
He one-ups even Sam Jackson's plan and manages to get out of that whole mess with the sister. It's incredible. It's incredible.
Yeah.
I mean, that's almost his first time beating Samuel L. Jackson at chess, in a way.
Right.
I don't know. That's how I felt at the time. He doesn't. It's not it's not literally a chess game, but he went against his advice and won anyway. So.
Yeah. Yeah. It's funny. I stumbled across an interview of Sean Nelson, who's the actor who plays Fresh, and it's just funny seeing him as an adult because I forgot that guy's still out there. You know, like as you have, Ford, you always have your list of actors you want to work with, and I was reminded about him, and I was like, oh wow. And then I was also like, man, he's still young. He's still like a young dude.
Right.
You know what I mean? He's not a kid, obviously, but
God,
yeah,
that's
Shawn
interesting.
Nelson's still out there, evidently.
Yeah, he's still out there. We looked him up and saw he was IMDbing, and of course, in a moment like that, yes, even for me, he shoots to the top of my list of if I ever have a chance to cast anybody, yes. But I didn't realize he was young. I just kind of looked at his IMDb, but that makes sense that he would still be pretty young.
Yeah,
cool.
Yeah. But I love that movie a lot. I felt like it was a really good take on the chess film. A unique, like a story you wouldn't normally get.
Yeah. What do you know about this director guy? I'm sorry. What were you gonna say? I cut you off, and I want to hear from you because I'm just blabbing.
No. I was gonna go off into the Queen's Gambit, but we can get into that another time.
Let's get into it.
No.
Okay, yeah, let's stay on Fresh.
I haven't seen the Queen's Gambit yet.
We'll have you back for a Queen's Gambit conversation once Indy's watched it.
Sorry, everyone.
Okay, perfect.
I know I shouldn't even be doing this.
You were gonna ask me about the director, Bose.
Oh yeah, do you know about that? Do you know about that guy?
Yeah, I remember him at that time because if I'm not mistaken, I feel like he was doing commercials or something at that time. Like maybe he was like a big commercial director, but I definitely remembered checking for him maybe before and after that. Like, I knew the name. The name was familiar to me. It wasn't like super foreign.
Okay. Yeah, apparently he went off. I didn't read much, but I read something last night or this morning that he was like, God, I forget where he went off to. Some other country, Spain or something, and he said, I'm not coming back until I have something to say. And then when he came back, he had this. He didn't want to do anything else until he had something to say, until he figured that out. I thought that was pretty cool.
Wow, that is cool.
And, a lot of these 90s movies just don't have that kind of depth. That's the question I kind of want to ask Indy, too, and I think you were kind of getting close to it, Rashidi, is like, Indy's a film guy, so he sees a lot of old movies. But, like, but he does often comment. I showed him a music video I cut from 2005 the other day, and he was like, oh, that's good. It's very of the time. So, like, what was your experience in that same sense of, like, the 1994 movie? You kind of had that same thing during Ghost Dog, that it was so of the time. And, like, what stuff stuck out to you as 1994-ish, specifically?
I mean, okay. Well, first of all, on a superficial level, a lot of the look of a lot of the characters, the way they dressed and did their hair and stuff. But it had that kind of just rough edge that those kind of movies do, like Ghost Dog.
Yeah.
And those 90s indie movies. That it's not quite clean, deliberately. It's got the sets are dirty and gritty, and I feel like in a way that nowadays, if you were going to make that movie, even if you were trying to do a similar set, it would look a lot cleaner and less real and less lived in, I think.
Yeah.
I don't know, maybe I'm wrong. One thing I thought was interesting, because Giancarlo Esposito would have been coming right off of Do the Right Thing after this, right?
That's 5 years.
Oh, really?
Difference. I think. Do the Right Thing, 80, 89, 88?
Okay.
Yeah.
It's at least 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, I guess that...
He does look way more grown up and ripped as fuck, Rashidi. Yeah. I don't know if you remember that, but he's, like, naked in several parts of the movie, and he is, ridiculously ripped. He looks like an animation
He looks
Another
like
one of my
Greek statue.
favorite actors. But again, to tell you how long it had been since I'd seen it, in my mind, I was thinking, oh, yeah, this was Jeffrey Wright. But it totally wasn't Jeffrey Wright.
Right.
It was Giancarlo, the original Jeffrey Wright, if you will. You know? And what I mean by that is both of those guys are like the actor's actor.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, they are about the craft on that level that can actually make them still relevant today.
Yes.
You know what I mean? They're like real actors, you know?
I mean, that guy is so relevant today.
Yeah.
I mean, almost to it almost seems a little limited by being somewhat typecast after Breaking Bad.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
At least in the mainstream stuff.
Yeah. We need this hardcore badass, just like the buck stops here guy.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes. He's got range, though, that guy.
Yeah.
And it's funny how some of the reviews I read, like Roger Ebert was saying, like, you know, he's kind of a benevolent guy in Fresh, although he seems super evil to me.
He seemed less evil. I mean, yeah, we were talking about this before we called you, but he did seem a lot less evil than the other drug dealers. Like, he wasn't...
Yeah. I don't know. That other guy was all right, too.
He probably was, portrayed a little more realistically, other than the stereotype. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's kind of like when I go back, because that scene, the basketball court scene, is the one that popped up first.
Oh, yeah.
And I watched that, and it's like, while the guy who plays the actor who plays the guy that shot the kid, you know, he's also a very good actor. I can't remember his name.
Yeah, I've definitely seen him before.
But
yeah.
That role was kind of against type for him.
Right,
you know?
right.
And while some of it feels accurate, some of it, just looking back, feels like acting. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's a fine line, man, how to like nail a character in a way that has energy, but still is grounded in reality.
Right.
And so when I look at that scene, I go, really? You know, like, is that dude really gonna shoot a kid?
I mean, you're right. Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like, it's very dramatic, right?
Yes.
It's dramatic license, it's creativity, I get it. And something like that has probably happened, but not that. Like, that was so specific. It's more like how the girl catches the bullet by accident is what feels real to me.
Right.
But this grown-up shooting this kid over a basketball game feels a little...
You know what?
That
is a great point. And I think I felt a little bit of that when I watched it the first time through also. And now that you're mentioning it, that's kind of problematic, isn't it? In a way. I mean, in a way, that's the kind of thing that sets audiences into a little bit of a mindset of like, wow, things are really out of control in this neighborhood.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's a film.
Yeah.
You know, but you know how films are taken.
Yes.
As literal truth.
Yes.
In America sometimes. So it's hard to draw the line. Like, where do you draw that line?
Right.
I hate what I'm doing right now. But it does. You know, you can't look at something from 1994 through today's eyes and really understand it fully. You know what I mean? Like,
well, you're
so great. You're capturing a moment and what was going on at the time. Like, I don't want to go back and say whatever, but I'm just. It's that thing about whether films not hold up, but kind of hold up.
Yeah.
You know, like, do these things that maybe rang true at that time, do they still ring true? Mm-hmm. You know? Yeah. No, I'm actually. I mean, you're the historian in the room here, and you know, and you do know actually, and it is kind of, you know, that era. People were in a bit of a panic about a lot of stuff, and a representation like that doesn't necessarily help. Yeah, or hurt necessarily. I'm just saying. I'm just looking back at it that's a thing that struck me. I was trying to even answer for myself, like, is this real?
Right.
Not real, but you know what I mean? Is this a good dose of reality? And then I just keep going back to, nah, it's a movie. I know what they're doing. They are they're creating the stakes.
Yeah.
Hey man, this is the environment that Fresh is in.
Right.
The chess genius.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. And this is what's motivating him to put all these pieces into play towards this end, and try to beat these guys, get revenge in his way.
And in a lot of ways, but not to be so super literal, but in a lot of ways, the characters in Hip Hop Uncovered, it's like they had to have some sort of understanding about the world around them and able to survive it.
Yeah.
To be able to survive it,
Yeah.
And I think for me, what the series is like a celebration of those people. There are people that have had to survive a lot of things. There are people that are having to live with their traumas. There are people that have overcome some harsh circumstances to be able to not only deliver their own dreams, but help deliver the dreams of others.
Yeah.
And that's a big deal, and that's something that should be celebrated and noted instead of every time we turn around just praising this rapper or that rapper or this producer or that producer. There's so many people behind the scenes that make successful projects successful, and it's rarely ever just one person.
Right. Well, I can tell you practice what you preach because on one Insta I was looking at of yours this morning, I kind of tapped on it, and everybody who was involved was tagged.
Yeah, I'm not always great at that, but I try to do it as much as I can because it's like, everyone needs to be acknowledged for what they brought to the table, and a lot of people brought a lot to the table in order for this series to even happen.
Yeah.
And that's like around 3 years or so before it got sold.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like there's that also.
Yes.
So.
And then after it got sold, how long was the process?
It's about, I would say it's about like 2 years.
Okay.
This is March, and at this time in 2019, I hadn't yet begun shooting, but by the end of the month in 2019, Nipsey died and got murdered in front of his shop.
Yeah.
And I happened to have been up the street at that time.
Wow.
At a restaurant called Simply Wholesome, and I was actually waiting to meet up with Big U with my other partner Jimmy Chris, and I got the phone call.
Wow.
And it was just shocking. It was just not what I was expecting to hear, in my mind, in terms of our project, Nipsey was someone we always planned to interview and have him talk about Big U and talk about, the music and the industry in general. And for him to have been murdered was just unexpected. It was super unexpected, and that's actually what motivated some of our earliest shoot days. Was once we gave Big U a little bit of space to process what had happened to his friend.
Oh my God.
We were like, well, let's shoot something, and the first thing we shot was they were putting together a memorial that would allow all the different gang sets to come to that neighborhood without having to look over their shoulders and wonder if somebody from another set was going to try to pull up on them.
Wow.
And so that's why the significance of that memorial that Big U was involved with was so important, is because a lot of people around the city wanted to come and pay their respects, and a lot of leaders in those gang sets had to have a lot of conversations and just work with each other so that could happen, basically.
Dang. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, but that's like the real shit that happens. You know what I mean? Like, you don't just show up in somebody's neighborhood and whatever. You know, like if you're living a certain lifestyle, that's just not how you move. You sort of know how to move where it's safe for you. And if you're living that life, then yeah, you have to be hyper aware of where you're at. And that's another thing that I was reminded of doing this project. You know.
Yes. Well, that reminds me of a question I think I posed to you over text when I was talking about episode 3 and 4, which I guess you and I, we got to do some deeper talks. I guess we can't get into this.
Yeah.
But like, I'm going to actually do a Wednesday night Twitch where I can go a little deeper with some people about some stuff that we get into on Saturday mornings, you know? But I'm very interested in like what you're talking about is like the faction situation. Who's able to move freely these days? Anyway, I can't get into it right now, and I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's another conversation for another time. But I was just giving you just a little bit of insight onto how and when we got started and how long the process was. So it's roughly like 2 years.
Yeah. Wow. I mean, so Big U, his title's not just a title. He was like boots on the ground, just involved guy.
Oh, for sure. I mean, a lot of us moving around the country.
Yeah.
You know, he's making calls.
Right.
Make sure people know, hey, we're going to be in Detroit or we're going to be in Atlanta, or if we're in Atlanta, you should roll with this one or have this person around or da-da-da. You know what I mean? It's like, it's a thing.
And like the Dominican Republic, I got a lot of questions for you. Yeah. I got a lot of questions for you about that. But I guess we'll save it, baby.
It's all good. It's all good.
Thank you. I guess we'll wrap it and get back to our game.
Yeah, you should have. I mean, we'll have you on again, definitely.
It feels odd to cut it off, but you know,
yeah.
I love you so much, Rashidi, and this is how we always are together. It's just.
I appreciate the invite. You know, inviting a novice of chess like myself inside your world.
Wait, do you play?
Huh?
Do you play?
No, I don't play.
All right.
It's me being a novice.
All right. Yes.
Like, I hate to even admit that I don't play.
No, nobody plays.
Sort of have you think that maybe I do play and maybe I kick a lot of ass, but it's not true.
All right. I'm having deja vu right now for some crazy reason.
You more than made up for it. You more than made up for your lack of chess knowledge.
Yes.
Well, thanks. I'm glad I could contribute another wonderful film to the lexicon.
Yeah.
Of what you guys are working with.
Yeah. Thanks, man. Thanks for this call, and you know, let's talk soon.
All right. Cool. Have a great one, guys.
All right, Rashidi. Good luck with everything this weekend today. All right. Talk to you. Congrats on Hip Hop Uncovered.
Thank you for this. From me also, from Indy. Very good, nice insight, and I feel like I learned a bit, even just in the last throughout this phone call. But
that's awesome. That's awesome, and we got to talk some more after you guys finish the series.
Thanks, Rashidi.
Streaming on Hulu, by the way, for anyone who
yes,
doesn't know.
Streaming on Hulu. Hulu. Yeah. Hip Hop Uncovered. Right. Watch it.
Thanks
All right. See you, man.
Later.
Hulu's still free, I believe.
Okay.
All right.
Man, you never know what you're going to get here on the Roasted Chestnuts. That was great. That Rashidi, he's got insights, man.
Yeah.
And, you know, he and I used to always cut these videos together and stuff like that. And I don't know, like, Rashidi is really so into hip hop. Like, it's to say he's into it isn't the way. Like, every time I had an edit session with him, which sometimes was like 4 days a week for multiple weeks, like I would learn another notch deeper of like that. Not only is he into it, but like he knows this guy. Like, he grew up here in LA, and he went to high school here, and like really is in the soil
He was
of.
like, he was part of some of these, or at least adjacent to some of these moments in history.
Yeah.
It's
amazing. His show is so good. I mean, his show is not just about hip hop. It's about life. It's about America, and in almost that way. Like I've been doing a deep dive into The Godfather lately, but like in the way The Godfather is about America. Hip hop uncovered kind of is like this is the true story of, like, if you take the founding words of this country for their at face value, then like these are the folks that should be lifted up and heralded as real, like, agents of the American dream. Anyway, Fresh. We've talked it through pretty good.
It's definitely. I was gonna say it's the best movie I've seen in months. I might have liked Ghost. I kind of liked the mic down.
Yeah, you like it in the frame a little bit? Yeah, you're right. It does give us a little bit of that.
Yeah.
Oh, you like it like that? Okay, yeah.
More clout.
Little on the edge, little, yes.
Yeah,
Well, you gotta kind of fix the.
I like it. I like it kind of like that,
Yeah, perfect.
I mean, Ghost Dog was a lot more just enjoyable. I mean, it's lighter. It's more
way
enjoyable.
lighter. I mean, it's just a buck wild fantasy in a lot of ways.
It's hard to to pick between a movie that I thought was amazing and a movie that felt good to watch.
Right.
You don't
have to pick between them.
I guess not. I guess no one's forcing me.
Yeah. Man, though, that basketball court scene, he really hit on something there. There's something in my mind, like there was like 6% in there saying that, what he said, which is like, this is a little unrealistic.
I mean, to me it was like, what you were saying about how that type of representation could be, could send a negative message. To me, it did feel a little like, I saw, when we saw that scene, I was just like, oh man, I knew crazy shit was happening in the hood all the time. I didn't know you could just shoot a couple kids and broad daylight.
Right, you got to remember, it's like not a documentary.
Yeah.
And Rashidi was pointing that out too.
Yeah.
And in that sense, I think that's why I immediately kind of gave it a pass, and it didn't really rise beyond like being a 6% concern for me, is because it felt really like necessary for the story at that point.
Right.
It fit perfectly in the mechanics.
Maybe if it had been a little less in the middle of a park in broad daylight, it would have been a little more realistic. Or
if it wouldn't, just like this smooth kid his only crime is that he's winning.
Right.
And like, is that really gonna maybe motivating it a little differently could have made it more.
Because like I'm sure, people who play pickup basketball a lot.
Right.
And
right.
Is that guy shooting everyone who kicks his ass in basketball?
Right.
Like, I'm sure, that guy didn't seem like he was that good.
Right.
He probably gets his ass kicked a lot. And, I don't know. Is that the first time he's done that? Because, like, at a certain point, nobody would want to play basketball with him.
Well, that was the funny thing. He was still functioning in the neighborhood after that.
Right.
Ooh, nice move.
Thank you.
Yeah, he was part of that other guy's gang. And I almost thought that other guy's gang that he was a part of, the first group that Fresh tricked, was... seemed less unstable, more stable than Giancarlo Esposito's character.
Giancarlo Esposito? So it's Giancarlo also, not Giancarlo.
Okay. Is it Giancarlo?
Yeah, it's Giancarlo. Yeah.
Giancarlo?
Not Gene.
All right. Bugging out?
Yeah. I guess, I don't know, for me, I guess I thought Do the Right Thing seemed like such a 90s movie to me, and I thought it was probably made in 1992.
If you get confused, it opens with that Public Enemy song.
Right.
Fight the Power. Fight the Power, which I think the first line is 1989, the summer, or something like that. Something like that. It's one of the early lines. Anyway,
it's a very different role for Giancarlo Esposito. He was such a he was like the wacky fun guy and do the right thing.
Or just like emotionally out of control. And that is like, that's not, that he played the opposite for the rest of his career. Well, I don't know his whole career. What do I know? Maybe he played totally freaking out characters more.
Well, it's funny because I used to see him a lot in like, not lower quality shows, but like lower. Nowadays he's in like, he's famous for Breaking Bad, The Mandalorian, he's in The Boys. Those are like top level shows. Yeah. And I used to know him from like ABC shows and stuff. I think he was in Lost a little bit. Once Upon a Time. Revolution, which was I think created by J.J. Abrams.
I want to watch some of those though, because I'd like to see him in some of those in between, some more, more of the spectrum of his range or whatever.
He plays a methodical villain.
Oh, really?
I think.
Okay.
Let me just do a quick look if he was in Lost or Once Upon a Time. I think he was at least in one of those, and I know he was in Revolution, which I think was created by J.J. Abrams and Jon Favreau. Really interesting show. It was about like
Turncoats? No, that was Turn.
That was Turn. Revolution was a show about there was like an apocalypse of electricity, like all the power went out in the whole world, and like all of it, not just the grid, but like batteries and solar power didn't work anymore.
And cars and stuff.
Cars didn't work. And a lot of that was stupid because I was like, well, they had cars that didn't use.
They're completely different systems.
Yeah. But anyway,
do water wheels work? In that world?
Well, no. They used technology like that.
Like a windmill connected to a grain silo?
No, there was no it was like that. You couldn't get
couldn't even mill grain.
You couldn't get an electrical current going. Like it was impossible.
What about like just connected directly to a old windmills or water wheels were just connected to like a stone wheel that had grain?
Yeah, you could do that. You could do like if you wanted to connect.
Could you get an ox to turn your?
Yeah. They could do that.
Pump.
He was in The Maze Runner. Look at that. Yeah, Once Upon a Time. He played. I don't know if you know Once Upon a Time. It's a weird show about fairy tale characters getting a curse and being sent into the real world, and none of them remember their fairy tale characters. But I believe he played the magic mirror on the wall and also the genie from Aladdin or something. And then in the real world was a guy, as everyone was in that show. I stopped watching after a season or two. But he was in this.
Was he in Community?
He was in 2 episodes of Community.
Oh, you know what I forgot to mention?
What?
There's a mind-blowing aspect to Fresh. Did we talk about this already, the Lawrence Bender thing?
No.
Okay, Lawrence Bender, one of the producers on Fresh. Rashidi, I wish, if you're watching the replay of this, I wish we would have talked about this while you were on the line. Although, leave it to me to point out the the white boy angle on Fresh. But Lawrence Bender apparently, and while you're looking that up, Lawrence Bender plays the same character. You ready to have your mind blown? In Fresh, long-haired yuppie. Pulp Fiction, long-haired yuppie, and some other movie, long-haired yuppie, basically connecting the universes. Lawrence Bender, the producer of Reservoir Dogs. Lawrence Bender, I think, brought Reservoir Dogs to the Weinsteins.
He's an actor in Pulp Fiction?
He's a producer, but he pops in as like a role. Like, long-haired yuppie is his credit in all 3. Lawrence Bender!
No, what role, in what part of Pulp Fiction is he
I don't know!
Asking you to describe his character or something. Keep saying Lawrence Bender.
Oh man, he's 2 years younger than me, that Lawrence Bender? God damn him.
That was Giancarlo Esposito in Malcolm X.
Yeah, I've only seen that once. Although, I have to say, Malcolm X was powerful. I saw it like 3 or 4 years ago. And to me, it stacks up as one of the epic films of all time. Great American Story. Mm-hmm. Just a great epic in the traditional sense. But in the non-traditional sense because of the Spike Lee of it all.
Giancarlo Esposito was in 7 episodes of Sesame Street in the 80s.
Wow.
Yeah. 3 episodes of Miami Vice. That's right, he's in Trading Places.
Oh man, apparently Lawrence Bender was responsible for covering up that car crash that nearly killed Uma Thurman on what was that, Kill Bill?
Alright, I'm gonna look him up.
Pulp Fiction, Killing Zoe. That was a crazy one from the Fresh, From Dusk Till Dawn, Jackie Brown, Goodwill. I mean, this is what he produced, but Lawrence Bender.
Okay, so he's just like one of the. Okay, he is in the background in the diner in Pulp Fiction.
Okay.
So that is not a role I would recognize.
Yeah, but.
I think it's your turn, right?
Nope. I move this.
Oh, okay.
See if he has acting credits on his IMDb. Kill Bill 2, Hotel Clerk. From Dusk Till Dawn, Man in Diner. 4 Rooms. Oh, 4 Rooms, that was it. Fresh, Reservoir Dogs, Lionheart. He's the garage fight heckler. Anyway, whatever. Lawrence Bender connects the Fresh universe with the Pulp Fiction universe.
Okay.
All right.
Well, speaking of that, very interesting. I was looking through Giancarlo Esposito's IMDb just now. He was in Trading Places. He played inmate number 2. Not a big role, but apparently this might be a long ago. But Coming to America 2, I guess, is out.
Yeah, this weekend.
And I guess Coming to America is connected to Trading Places via the guys from Trading Places, the bosses, the rich brothers. Show up in Coming to America, and
as those characters, but they're homeless.
Oh shit! And then at one point, when King, wait, don't tell me.
Oh man.
Hakeem.
Wow.
He's on a date, I think, at a diner, and they bang on the window, and they think he's Richard Valentine or whatever.
Oh my god! I vaguely remember that.
And then my first thought was, well, that doesn't work because how could Eddie Murphy be playing 2 characters in the same universe? But then I remember he plays like 4 characters in that movie alone.
At least!
So, yeah.
He plays 4 characters in one scene.
Yeah. Anyway. Maybe we'll watch Coming to America 2 before for next week or something.
I'm in.
Yeah.
I'm in.
All right.
I'm sure there's some chess in there somewhere in the barbershop.
All right, it's my turn?
It is.
All right.
And you're basically doomed.
You think so?
Well, I've been playing by Sam Jackson Fresh Rules.
See, I feel like I am playing a little differently than I usually do, too.
I mean, do you feel you have the upper hand in this round right now?
I don't feel like I have the upper hand right now, no. I feel like I'm still putting my pieces into place.
Okay. I mean, Samuel Jackson will have you feeling like, man, I got to sacrifice some pieces, but you got to go easy on that.
I mean, you can, if you have a plan to sacrifice your bishop for X, Y, or Z, that doesn't mean just start losing pieces, just cause.
Woo! You know, I was reading How to Beat Your Dad at Chess the other day. And
How to Beat Your Son at Chess?
Yeah. It's good. It's mostly about closing moves.
Yeah.
And there was an area that was like, what if they just won't castle? And I thought it made me think of you. Because apparently you kind of, you know, to do the standard stuff, you kind of count on them castling at a certain time. Pressure's on that bitch tonight. Oh! Unexpected. Although, you know, if there's one thing I'm learning to expect from you, it's the unexpected.
Oh, we're in a new month, I guess.
Oh, we're in a new month. Yeah, I didn't print up. I was like, okay, I got 10 minutes to print up, but I'm 2 games ahead right now.
So you won the month of February.
Okay, I won February. So, and we'll start fresh kind of every month?
Sure, I don't know.
Cool. All right. My turn?
Yes.
Okay. Let's play a little chess here. Let's get this party started. Let's get to our second round, baby. This was a juicy first round. That Rashidi?
I know.
There is not a conversation that isn't deep between he and I. We talked the big topics. He's taught me a lot about, not to go too deep with it, but like just internalized racism, stuff like that, things that are inside of you that you don't recognize in yourself, and things that are just, he and I have long, in-depth conversations about that kind of stuff, and it's really paid dividends for me in my kind of ability to be as woke as I aim to be.
Yes.
It's fascinating. It's just fascinating how much work I had to do, still have to do. We all do, in connections with people across a broad range of life's ranges is so important. Whatever. I know it sounds trite, but I also know just kind of hearing that sometimes is important for all of us, just to, even though we all know it's important to have a wide variety of people in your life or whatever, just for those reasons.
A wide variety of reasons.
It's also important to sometimes remind yourself of that. It's been said. I don't know why I feel like I'm winning here, because I'm not.
See, you always use the term winning in chess.
Okay.
No, I always think there's no winning until you've won. I don't think anyone's ever ahead.
Well, there's the point count that's happening as you go. And, I mean, look, you're right.
There aren't points.
I think there are points. There's values to what you've captured, and if we were, like, playing in a competition, whatever. Okay. But it doesn't matter until the end. It's like boxing.
Yeah.
There's probably going to be some kind of a knockout here in the end, so the points don't matter that much. But sometimes, as people are following along, or different ways people like to track different players, like this guy gathers a lot of points, but he always ends up...
Well, there's something like, you could think you're ahead because I've let you
definitely
take all the right pieces that I wanted you to take.
No, I understand.
That doesn't make one winning in my eyes.
You're absolutely correct. I've got scanned pieces.
Yeah. I don't know why you thought you were about to shut me down.
I really was feeling very confident, like 2 moves back. Like I had this thing done. All I had to do was just wrap it up like a bow. With a bow.
Wrap it up like a bow. We're going to do wrap it up like a bow.
That's when he was born. If you do that in New York, you get beat down in one of those chess parks. That'd be a funny thing, though, if you were always like, ha 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 ha. What?
Guy shoots you for beating him at chess.
Right. That's what should have happened. Why'd they take it to the basketball court? God, that was such an interesting point. That Rashidi makes. And I don't think it's wrong for them to have done that in the movie at all.
Sure.
I think it's fine and it works, but I also think it's a very interesting point.
But I think, to his point, it could have maybe been done slightly differently and still had the same impact.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Gots to get out of that little... Ooh. Still acting like I'm ahead?
Yeah. You're not even acting like your head. You're acting like you've got total control.
Like I'm controlling everything?
Yeah.
Like I made you do that?
Yeah.
Is this what you're doing?
Check.
Are you doing the Sam Jackson treating every piece like a pawn thing? Is that what's happening here?
I thought you were doing the Sam Jackson. You were bragging about it 5 minutes ago. But yes, I did take some of that advice in.
Wait, did you see that Samuel Jackson text that I sent you this morning?
No.
It's great. It's a screenshot of an Insta.
The great Samuel L. Jackson story.
You gotta tell them. You gotta tell them what it is.
One time I saw Samuel L. Jackson at an airport. He saw me and my cousin hovering around, trying to gain the courage to ask him for a photo. Then he came over and asked us, "Y'all motherfuckers want a photo?" And here's the photo. It's hilarious, hilariously blurry.
Yeah, the kids.
Yeah, couldn't believe it. I worked before the pandemic at a movie theater in Hollywood where.
It's my turn.
No. Where we would see a lot of celebrities, and sometimes they would be there for events, to promote their movie or whatever. And I had a friend who was, he was escorting Samuel L. Jackson to the green room. We have a green room for the famous people to hang out in, so they don't have to interact with the common folk. Anyway, apparently this guy walked right up to Samuel L. Jackson and just snapped a selfie with him. And Samuel L. Jackson just went, "Ask, motherfucker!"
That's funny because that relates,
I mean, it was so good because it wasn't like, "fuck you" or "get away from me." It was just like, "How about you ask? How about you ask, right?" It's not unreasonable at all, or like crazy or weird. Just wants him to ask.
Yeah. Oh! Uh-oh. I'm about to get squeeze played. Oh man, I'm partially squeezed right now. I'm not unsqueezed at this moment.
Check. No, you got one move.
Don't be.
You got one move. Can't do that. I'm just kidding.
Okay. You got me though. You got me with that. You're a real toughie. Oh, baby, these are some very difficult decisions. Oh, you're really doing some stuff.
Check.
Holy fucking shit. That was the dictionary definition of a...
Of a what? Of a queen sacrifice?
Yes. I mean, I think we're getting down to that no material phase here.
Excuse me.
Okay, he doesn't like that.
No material.
Lack of material? Just like the first 3 and last 3 episodes of WandaVision.
Yep.
Lack of material.
Yeah. Last 2 episodes.
Yeah, I know. Really, that is accurate. Accurately. Okay. This is over.
It's not over. What are you talking about? To wipe the... I just gotta...
Very tricky. I see what's happening here. I'm getting fucked. I'm getting squeezed hard.
If there was ever a time to forfeit.
You're right. A little more experience, I'll know when to forfeit. Mm-hmm. So far, right now, I don't know when to forfeit. You know, I never checked our stream. I hope it's not fucked.
I think it's fine.
You moved?
No.
Experience, I'll know when to forfeit. So far, right now, I don't know when to forfeit. You know, I never checked our stream. I hope it's not fucked.
All right.
I think it's fine. I don't know how to stop it.
The worst thing about Twitch is if something starts playing, you can't be on Twitch anymore because it will play and it will be in the way.
Right through other apps,
yeah.
You might be, trying to talk to your grandma.
Yep.
Your Twitch is still playing. Son of a bitch.
Checkmate. I mean, queen me and then checkmate.
Ah, God. Dude, you didn't kick my ass. Son of a. Alright. God damn it. Alright, everybody. That was round one. It was a good one.
Yeah, that was a good one.
Alright, Indy. Round one.
Right,
great job.
The WandaVision spoiler.
Yeah, we're about to get into WandaVision. Rashidi, thank you again for that call. That was awesome. I think I'm black now, homie.
No. Oh yeah.
See Fresh. It's worth it, even though we just spoiled the shit out of it.
Yeah. See, it doesn't matter. I mean, it's obviously better to go in.
Oh no!
Fresh.
I didn't do the cameras on the WandaVision spoilers thing. Son of a... Hold on, we'll get back to this in a second. I think I know how to handle this.
All right. You want to end the stream, whatever you do.
I'm not going to end the
stream.
stream.
End the stream.
I'm not going to end the stream. I'm not going to cross the streams. Alright, watch this. That's what Han Solo says just before he... just before he fails to... Yes! Indy angle. Boom. Sorry, everybody. Indy is 8. Oops! Oh. Fordley angle. We don't need that one. This is 5. Sorry, everybody. We're doing this on our own on the technical side. Overhead, let's not forget that. That's what I believe that's one of our signatures is this overhead shot, even though it's been relegated to the smallest window. Oh shit, look at that shit. Oh. Boom. Okay.
Alright, is that everything? Alright, yeah, that's everything.
Yeah, except the board is good for the overhead, but now it's not as good for this one, see? It's fine. Easy. Okay.
Alright, there we go. Alright, well, I guess maybe first we could talk briefly about Age of Ultron, which we rewatched in preparation.
Hold on, since we're like an hour and 13 minutes into this, let's just re-intro everything real quick and talk about what we've done, what we're about to do. Roasted Chestnuts, welcome back. We did our first round. We do 3 rounds of chess per thing. In the first 2, we talk about something, a movie, TV show, and then in the third, we do it with the clock.
Hardcore. The first 3 rounds are cash and chatting, and then the third round
casual and chatting.
Yep.
So we had a great guest on the first round, Rashidi Harper. We talked about the movie Fresh.
Great movie.
Now we are on round 2. We're talking about WandaVision, which we've been doing for the last few weeks. We watched
mostly doing a weekly.
Yeah, well, except you were quarantined a couple times, so we wound up.
Mostly.
Well, I mean, it's only 8 episodes. 2 of them you weren't here.
For the most part,
a couple of times we didn't do the first one.
I'd say about
anyway,
90% of the time.
Maybe half the time.
So yeah, last episode of WandaVision was yesterday.
Finale. Last week we talked about episode 7.
8.
This week is episode 8.
This week's 9.
What? Wait a minute. Oh yeah, we've had this discussion.
Yeah.
All right.
We had the first 3 where nothing happened, and then 4 where we got introduced to all the side characters, and then 5 where Evan Peters shows up at the end. 6 was the Halloween one. 7 was the Modern Family one. 8 was the exposition dump, and 9 was the finale.
All right. Make your first move and then make your first comment.
Boy, oh boy, I gotta say, I was disappointed for most of the episode and afterwards, and after sleeping on it, I think I am even more disappointed.
Mm-hmm. I want to say some things. I am a fan of WandaVision.
Sure.
I think as a show, it was good. It was successful. It did a lot of stuff. If you take it in its 8-episode glory, no, I'm just kidding. If you take the 9 episodes as an experience,
yeah,
I'm glad I experienced it.
Me too.
And I thought it was really good. And I thought so much was great about it.
Yes.
The writing was so complex.
Yeah.
I keep contrasting with The Mandalorian
right.
because that's the most recent kind of series I've watched through.
Disney Plus show.
Besides
also.
Queen's Gambit. But yes, it's also Disney Plus and has that, you
that
kind
massive budget superhero action thing.
And you're looking at those two things as the kind of stuff, in the same wheelhouse that Disney's trying to
Marvel and Disney,
put forward
Marvel
as
and Star Wars are always directly compared.
Tentpole,
Yeah.
Disney type stuff.
Yeah.
So I like WandaVision. I thought Elizabeth Olsen was really strong.
Yeah.
Even in these episodes that I didn't like as much, I thought even last night's episode, just seeing her do something like launch a big power shot into the sky, she pulls that off. That shit is actually hard to pull off.
Yeah.
And we'll talk about what's her name, Agnes. Mm-hmm. She's really, I thought, was the strongest actor in the whole thing, but it kind of she didn't pull off all that stuff quite as well. That I'm blasting you with a laser beam. I personally have a problem with how much people are blasting each other with laser beams, but as far as on the performance level goes, everybody did it really well. Mm-hmm. But particularly Elizabeth Olsen, I thought she had so much heavy lifting to do. I mean, she carried every episode. She had to be the person walking through the house, kind of keeping it all together. And I mean, at first you kind of think it's a two-hander with her and Vision,
right?
But you sort of realize it's more Wanda. And which is, there are so many amazing plays. I mean, WandaVision is such a brilliant title on so many levels.
Right?
Like, WandaVision can be the name of a sitcom. Yeah. WandaVision can be like Wanda's Vision. Yeah. Wanda and Vision being together. But, more and more, it's sort of Wanda's vision.
WandaVision also reminds me of something like, presented in Technicolor.
Yes. Yeah, very much so. And you kind of think that's the extent of it. Yeah. As far as, how punny it is or whatever. But,
it's funny, actually, when they first said they were making the show, my first thought was, please don't, because those characters are so boring.
Right.
And then they announced it was going to be called WandaVision, and I was like, that sounds like Panavision or Technicolor or something. That's a dumb title.
Yeah.
But actually, it's an amazing title.
Well, I immediately, once I saw, it was called WandaVision, saw those first trailers, I immediately didn't have an opinion at that point. I was just like, whoa, this is some different shit. They're trying something here. Yeah. And again, you put it, those first 3 episodes or whatever, the last couple, you put it up against the standard metrics of TV, and the beginning didn't work, the middle really worked, and the end kind of was whatever.
Yeah.
But then you take it out of that, make it its own thing, even go past, what do they call Premiere TV or Peak TV? There's a name for Prestige. Premium TV, the era we're in.
Yeah. Talking about your HBOs and your Netflixes and not an ABC procedural or something.
Right, kind of everything from The Sopranos through Breaking Bad and true to not
Breaking Bad may have not been considered prestige just because it was on a network with commercials.
Peak
and stuff,
TV or whatever.
Yeah.
Even some people.
It's lumped in with that genre because it's amazing, but. I think at the time it was still considered like a network show separate from Game of Thrones. And
right. But it's almost like WandaVision is post that. Mm-hmm. It's almost taking the TV form and saying okay, what else can we do with the installment formats? Yeah. And because time doesn't matter anymore. Things don't have to be an hour. They can be 22 minutes. They can be 22 minutes used to be a half hour show, but they don't have to be 22 minutes. They don't have to be 44 minutes.
Yeah. It can be 27 minutes.
Anyway, that sounds like a small point, but it is actually freeing for the creators.
I'd say that's a double-edged sword because a lot of times time constraints can help make something tighter.
Yes.
Like, if any of you remember the first Netflix season of Arrested Development, some of the episodes were like 45 minutes long.
Mm-hmm.
And boy, were they bloated.
It's not surprising that creators had a hard time finding the way. I mean, basically, it's a new dimension that's now been added to creating TV, which is pace and time. Something that movies used to have a little bit more flexibility on, but TV was pretty locked in. You had to hit certain commercial breaks. You had to have almost cliffhangers every commercial break, even if they were small cliffhangers.
Yeah.
Anyway, that whole thing's been turned on its head in a great way.
Yes.
As the paradigm. So I think WandaVision is the thing that I've seen most dive into that.
Yeah.
Like, we're chopping it in a different way.
It's interesting though, because there were commercials. There were those fake commercials, and there would be an act break before them.
Yeah.
In that same way, but it was a meta version of that.
Or whatever the opposite of meta is, when instead of coming up out of a hole, you go deeper into a hole. Kind of. It was another layer down instead of a layer out in a way. But yes, meta. Anyway, crazy.
Anyway, it kind of devolved into.
So you want to talk specifically right now about episode 9? Just get into that and fuck. We've talked about everything else up till now, so here we are. We want to talk about Age of Ultron a little bit?
All right. I loved Elizabeth Olsen. Yeah, what you were saying about pulling off those magic hand gestures, that's really hard. Even when you have the CGI on you, it's usually hard for it to not look dumb.
Yeah.
Like, when Doctor Strange is always doing his, like...
Yeah.
I still picture Benedict Cumberbatch in a green screen studio.
Yes, right. And take Tony Stark. Like, all he has to be is Robert Downey Jr.
Right.
You just walk into a place and do a bunch of Robert Downey Jr. stuff and walk out. But when Elizabeth Olsen, take that scene we didn't like last week from when she walks into that, it's a lot. She's got to, like, carry herself kind of like a sexy lady in a way, just because that's what's required in that role or whatever in this. And also a powerful super person, where it's like, I think a lot of times superheroes only have to be the powerful super person. She's had a lot to do. Walking up to that desk, or moving through the living room, or walking through the town folk, or interacting at those PTA meetings. Like, she had a lot to do.
I mean, I would say...
being sensitive with the kids.
If she doesn't get nominated for an Emmy, that would be a pretty clear snub.
She did so much.
Yeah.
And pulled it off.
Really pulled off basically everything.
Yeah.
I mean, she had to play, like, 5 different roles each episode.
Right.
She had to play, Wanda and the version of whatever sitcom character she was trying to emulate, plus whatever she was trying to convince Vision of, or whatever.
Meanwhile, being a person who's processing immense grief.
And as they go through everything that's happened in these movies, she's really been through a lot.
Right.
Like, her parents died when she was little.
And I'm sick of that story, but like, in a way, but it is
for a superhero,
highly traumatic,
I mean, it's high in the way it was done. Yeah, it was like, sometimes Batman's parents get shot outside of an alley.
Right.
In her, it was a lot more traumatic and dramatic in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
But then her brother is like the only person she has.
Yeah.
And he gets killed.
A little randomly, but not totally randomly, but a little randomly.
We'll get into that. And then later in Captain America Civil War, she accidentally kills, like, 7 innocent people trying to save the day.
Okay.
Which is hard on her, obviously, because she killed a bunch of innocent people.
I mean, once Disney gets their hands all up in that stuff, that whole thing changes, because we were just watching Iron Man, and it's just like, people are getting splattered by accident left and right.
They didn't show any people dying. It was like an explosion in a building, and later they were like, 7 people died, or whatever. And then, in Infinity War, she gets into a relationship with the Vision, and he has the Mind Stone in his head, which Thanos needs, and then they determine that they have to destroy it to stop Thanos from getting it, and she's the only one that can destroy it. And so she basically has to kill the only person she has left in order to save the world, and she really doesn't want to. And then she ends up doing it, which is hard, obviously, having to murder someone you love. And then it's all for nothing, because Thanos just rewinds the clock, Vision's alive, and then he grabs the stone out of his head and kills him. So basically, she didn't have to kill him.
Right.
Everything would have been the same.
So she gets the trauma of it, but still not the result of saving the universe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's almost like someone that powerful, having been through that much, is a recipe for basically what happened.
Right. An insane breakdown.
Yeah. Insane breakdown that has ripples throughout the whole universe.
Yeah. Or at least Westville.
Yeah. So, okay. Age of Ultron.
Let's make it brief on Age of Ultron.
Let's make it brief. All right. Joss Whedon lately has been in some hot water. I'm a big fan of Joss Whedon's work.
His work.
Huge fan of Buffy, Firefly. He used to be championed for being a feminist. The way the women were portrayed in Age of Ultron, first of all, I felt like there were no shots of any woman that didn't have cleavage.
That was bizarre. The cleavage level was insane.
Yeah.
I mean, just on Scarlett O'Hara. What's her character's name?
Widow?
Black Widow. That was insane in itself. Mm-hmm. But then those other side characters.
It would just be like, well, Wanda too, but also it would just be like a random civilian that they're trying to rescue. Every shot of her, massive cleavage.
Right. She was in multiple times, and every time it was a jiggly, crazy shot.
And also Joss Whedon does this constant thing, a guy will fall on some boobs. I remember it in Justice League, too. It's like the Flash falls on Wonder Woman's boobs.
Really?
Yeah. And it happened in this.
I remember.
It's so stupid.
It is so stupid in old school.
Yeah.
She's not even old school. It was stupid when it was old school.
Right.
It was stupid in like a old
it was stupid the first time it was
Marilyn Monroe movie
or
whatever. It's so stupid. Dude, clearly, I don't know. He doesn't really excel, or at least in this movie. Anytime there was a human to human, a moment, say, between Banner and Black Widow or something, it was so awkward and unfortunate. It was kind of like the way I'm communicating right now.
Awkward and unfortunate.
Yes.
I mean, yeah, the dialogue, he does dialogue. He has this very, specific way of doing it. That's very, very recognizable.
Right, but if you say, yeah, okay.
I think.
Immediately when you say that, though, it's not going to be natural.
No, not at all. but it doesn't have to be natural. Like, Quentin Tarantino's dialogue is not natural. It doesn't sound at all like how people talk to each other.
Right, but that's why he hasn't been hired to do any Disney movies.
Sure. I'm sure they would love to have him, though.
No way!
I mean, if they could railroad him into the Marvel style, I'm sure they'd love to be able to do that.
Maybe.
He'd never do that. He'd never be railroaded into a CGI fest, but if they could, I'm sure they'd love to.
Yeah.
They could slap Tarantino's name on any of their movies.
I bet you there's a way to do it.
I mean, I could see him doing a superhero movie if he was able to.
No, I know.
Do whatever he wants.
Keep it raw. Keep it minimal on the CG.
Right.
Make it look like it was shot on 8mm film.
But I don't think Marvel would do that. Like, they want all their movies to look the same and feel the same. Anyway.
Joss Whedon. Let's. I want to talk about WandaVision.
Yeah, I do too. But it's just when two characters are talking, it feels rehearsed.
Still talking Age of Ultron.
Yeah, Age of Ultron. It feels rehearsed. I mean, which obviously all
big
dialogue
time
in a movie is, but it doesn't feel like these two characters are having this conversation for the first time.
When Captain America's
like,
talking to Banner.
Clever.
You know, Banner.
Yeah.
Life's short. If you are in love with a woman, you should get next to her instead of waiting.
You noticed there was Captain America was just eavesdropping on everyone's conversation.
Oh, I forgot about that.
Like, two people would be having a private conversation.
Right, he'd be like...
Show would be like, what were you guys talking about?
Yeah, right. It happened like at least 3 times.
Yeah. Also, it seemed like, did Under Armour tailor some shirts to Chris Evans' body? Because
with extra nipple?
Yeah. I mean...
There's no way his pecs had that much of a shelf overhang for the rest of his abs.
Yeah, the nipples... It was like Rachel on Friends. But the shirts were so tight.
Yeah.
It was insane.
Yeah.
Also, Chris Hemsworth has this vein going all the way down one of his arms that almost looks like a plastic seam on an action figure.
Uh-huh.
You know what I'm talking about?
Go.
And,
I know. Take it back. I pressured you into it.
Okay. No, wait, wrong side. Sorry. I was confused because my king was on the other side. I don't want to do that. Wait, I can't.
What the fuck?
Look, this is what you get for pressuring me, alright?
Okay. I like your braids today.
Thank you.
I like that shirt too.
Quickly. You might have got, I think you got this for me.
Okay. Looks like a me buying type of deal.
What can I do? How can I say this?
Will you tilt me down just ever so slightly? No, that's not that. See, we loosened the. Oh, there. Okay, forget it. It's fine.
No, I can just do it.
Yeah.
Thing.
Perfect.
All right.
Whatever. Age of Ultron is the backstory for Vision. Go watch it if you want to know the backstory. Ultron, it doesn't matter.
Highly mediocre. I haven't seen it since the theater.
I liked it more than I thought.
I thought it was definitely the weakest of the 4 Avengers movies. And
there's a lot bad with it, but
I felt like Tony Stark had regressed into being an idiot or something.
Mm-hmm.
Or it didn't seem like they did enough to establish that his ego was consuming him. It just seemed like he was just being reactionary and not thinking anything through, which is somewhat in character, but took it too far, I think.
Now that you mention it, I am remembering that from the larger Avengers arc. It was a little hard to track where Tony was at, kind of emotionally and morally throughout.
See, I think it was mostly consistent, except for that movie.
No, because you're talking about how he's a guy who used to be an arms dealer and now kind of wants to make up for all that.
Mm-hmm.
But then that kind of comes in and out, it seems like, to me, that attitude. When it's convenient, when it's not convenient. That he wants to kind of...
Well, it seems like Disney's trying to shoo that away, like I've said, because Iron Man was a Paramount movie. Paramount owned the Marvel rights.
Mm-hmm.
So it didn't have to be so Disney. It didn't have to be so clean and Disney. So it had an edgier vibe. And I don't think if Disney made that movie... I mean, we were watching Iron Man, and he's an asshole, he's a womanizer, he's a terrible person. The only thing that changes after the trauma, is that he doesn't want to sell weapons anymore. It doesn't fundamentally change his personality at all. So I guess his arc then is, going from... Iron Man 1, his growth was basically he used to be a monster, and now he's trying to make up for that. Mm-hmm. But once he's started making up for it, he saved the universe a couple times.
Yeah.
So, but now he's trying to personally be better, I guess.
Right. He wants to... It's the arc towards being just like a chill family man, I guess.
Right. All right. Anyway.
Yeah. Fuck all that.
WandaVision.
So yeah, basically Vision's created in the Age of Ultron movie.
Right.
It's just kind of interesting how he comes to be.
Well, let me say about Age of Ultron, one thing I loved that I didn't explore enough was when Ultron first wakes up and he's having a conversation with Vision, with Jarvis in the computer, and it was a fascinating thing that could have been explored more, which was these two AI basically were both created to serve, but one is more I than the other. And it doesn't, he's born and he's like, I'm just born, and Vision's like, hey, you're just born, you're here to serve just like me, and he's just like, no, I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
And Jarvis is like, well, that's your purpose, that's our purpose, that's what we do, and he's just like, no, that's not my purpose.
Yeah.
And a better movie would have explored that a lot more. And they did explore it a little bit at the end. Vision has a conversation with the last Ultron, where he's like, Ultron's like, humans aren't going to last, and Vision's like, well, something's not beautiful because it lasts. And that was good. I would have liked more of that, honestly.
Yeah.
Check. Oh, one last thing about Age of Ultron. Ultron is like a hive mind. He has a whole army of robots, but they're all one mind.
Right, he's on the net.
But then he also has a main body that's his most powerful body.
Okay.
That he likes to interact with the Avengers with. It's made of adamantium or something, vibranium.
All that.
All that. But at one point, everyone's shooting their lasers at him, and they're like melting him down, and then they're winning, and then they just stop.
Oh yeah.
Classic. They're about to kill him. It's Thor, Tony, and Vision. They're all shooting lasers.
Why did they stop? They stop for no reason.
They just stop. They don't even say "let's stop." They all just stop, and then Ultron walks away.
Yeah.
And it's like, wait, you were just about to defeat the bad guy.
Right.
It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
They've got him down. It's not like a moral thing. They're there to destroy him. They're not there to imprison him or talk him down. Yeah. They're there to. They say we have to destroy every single robot or X, Y, or Z won't, whatever. And they just stop. They have him down, and they just stop, and then he runs away or something. All right, let's get into WandaVision now.
Okay. Yeah. Let's focus on the last episode because I do want to talk more about WandaVision broadly. I think maybe over time.
Yeah.
But right now, since we're just doing it for this game, let's just talk about that last episode.
All right.
And again, I just rewind back and give it tons of props. It did a lot of stuff. I overall, I'm a fan. I was pretty disappointed in the previous episode, and this episode was a little bit not as disappointing, but
Before I talk about Catherine Hahn, I want to say how big of a fan of hers I am and always have been.
Right. Most of the things we're going to talk about aren't the actor's fault, definitely.
I mean, I'm a huge fan of her. Like, I've always thought she doesn't get her due in Hollywood. She's always playing second fiddle to someone who's not as funny as her.
Right.
Someone who's more bankable or whatever.
Yeah.
And I loved her at the beginning of this, before she revealed herself to be an evil witch.
Yeah. And I even liked a lot of what she did as the evil witch. Like, I'm not even going to take it all away from her or anything, or from them in that sense, but like, some of it, a certain percentage of it just rang.
I mean, it rang miscast, if I'm being completely honest.
Oh.
I think she was perfect for the role, the fake Agnes. She was amazing at that.
Mm-hmm.
She's not good at playing like just a dark, evil presence.
Yeah, I guess you're right. I agree.
Maybe if they had made her like visually less arch, like if she was.
I liked her costumes overall. I liked her costume.
I thought it was. What if it was like she was still in the clean, like 1950s look or something?
Right.
Almost juxtaposition.
I was surprised when things, those couple of episodes where things, kind of turned to like super witchy. Mm-hmm. I love witchy, but like, I didn't think this was where this was going. And I guess I don't have a problem with it or not have a problem with it taking that witchier turn, but it almost went too straight witchy.
Yeah.
And didn't...
Well, it went straight witchy, but unable to step outside the Marvel thing of shooting lasers. And,
oh, well, that's one of the top 3 unfortunate parts.
I mean, I love witch stuff.
Yeah.
The Witch, one of my favorite movies.
Right.
Right. But it just felt like, these witches are shooting lasers, and I guess her lasers are stronger than their lasers or something.
Well... We could use a little more Black Phillip in this.
That would have been good.
But yeah, I mean, I don't even know if it's worth talking about the moments where, several times in that final episode, it just came down to, something India and I often talk about as a problem in a lot of things, particularly a Harry Potter type thing, which we also love. But like, you've got 2 energies, 2 lasers, 2 wands, 2 mind stones blasting at each other like this.
Yeah. Or like this, or just like...
And it's a matter of just like Yoda's pushing hard and the Emperor's pushing hard. And it's like, who's pushing harder? And is there what is it behind the fact that one beam starts overtaking the other beam? Is it that there's more righteousness coming out of a person, more feeling, more goodness, more my bad energy is stronger than your good energy, or is it like
it's weak action?
I've got my friends behind me now?
Yeah, that's always what it is.
Or like, and that's giving me that extra.
Yeah.
So the laser is going red against blue or
it's
yellow
against
like green.
Harry Potter's parents show up as ghosts.
It's Hal Jordan against the yellow guys.
More. Yeah.
It's all of that.
Right.
It's the worst.
Yeah.
There's almost no reason for why one person's beam is getting stronger than the other person's, particularly if it started off weaker.
But what I did love is that I thought White Vision's purpose was only to give Vision someone to punch.
I got a lot of problems with White Vision.
I loved White Vision. Let me say, it started off punching. It started off like a Man of Steel fight.
Is it me?
And, no.
Oh, yeah.
And, it started, and then they were shooting lasers, and, and they were matching, and then, anyway, but then they're fighting in like a library, and Vision's like, why are you doing this? And then White Vision's like, my primary directive is to destroy the Vision.
Yeah.
And then they keep fighting, and then Vision goes, well, I'm not the true Vision. And then the White Vision goes, I request elaboration.
Yes.
And then Vision ends up not defeating him, but
outwitting him.
Not even outwitting him, but like
breaking it down for him.
Around.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He breaks it down in a very honest way about what's actually happening here.
I felt like that was way better than Vision punching him harder.
Yeah, I do too. Look, I feel like I don't know. I'm disappointed in the sense that, well, whatever. I felt like the good parts in this movie were exactly what I thought in this episode were exactly what I thought they were going to be, that I predicted a week ago, and I hate that. And then the bad parts were just bad. So I don't know.
I thought exactly that except for what happens with White Vision.
Okay. I thought Vision was going to have to deprogram White Vision.
Kind of did, though.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. It was predictable.
I thought he was
because then he went in and unlocked his memories, which was kind of a reprogramming. He basically took down that wall. There was a firewall in there.
But I thought he was going to have to beat him in a fight first, and then like set him up at a station, and then
he did though.
No, he didn't beat him. He was losing the fight.
Okay, fair enough. He wasn't beating him in a fight, but he was fighting him. Yeah.
It wasn't genius. It was
now you're making me nervous because I feel like you're about to sacrifice that queen every time you get a chance. I wasn't checked, by the way. I don't know if you knew that. I'm sure you did.
I did, yes. I should have said it. But, I'd say I also... What are they doing with Evan Peters? He turns out to just be an actor named John Boner.
I guess they sort of alluded to that earlier. I just wasn't really caring enough.
Right, but it feels like they duped us. I feel tricked.
Do you?
They were like, hey, this character from the X-Men movies is here now.
Right.
Just kidding. It was that.
Yeah.
It was a lie. It was like they got us excited for nothing.
Right. I mean, it still is, though, a crossover from that. I guess it's not officially.
It's not a cross. He's not the same character. He's just some guy who... Because there is an interesting theory that Agatha, I guess Agnes's name is Agatha.
Oh, right.
There's a theory that she couldn't bring back the Aaron Taylor Johnson version of Pietro. So
I think she says it.
She had to... Yeah, she says that, but people were saying then, so her only other method was to step into an alternate reality and bring back a different version of him from the X-Men movies, which are set in an alternate reality, obviously. But that's not what happened. He was just a regular person that she pretended was him, or something.
Yeah, it can't be that simple, but...
that's how it was wrapped up in the show. Right. Maybe there will be more later, but...
I mean, it's almost worse to do it that way than to just not...
Yeah.
Just to recast that completely. I don't know why.
Yes, I would say, yeah.
They would.
To get people watching. Everyone loves that character, that actor, that version from the X-Men movies. Also, I looked this up. Two things that were really interesting to me about Age of Ultron. One was how much the superheroes were going out of their way to save each other. To save the other people, citizens that were dying, which they don't usually.
Oh, I know. They made that a plot point,
right,
of evacuating the town and stuff. That was bizarre.
This was after Man of Steel, where everyone hated that Superman.
Oh, just the collateral damage.
Yeah. But it was also the summer after Days of Future Past, where with that iconic Quicksilver scene. And
where he saves the shit out of people?
Yeah, I can save time in a bottle.
Yeah.
That scene's iconic. That's one of the most iconic scenes in a superhero movie. And then they kind of just did a weaker version of that character.
Mm-hmm.
I forget what my point was, but alright, I gotta focus a little more. It's somewhat tough. Bit of a
jam. There's a name for trying to lure somebody into one of those traps like that. That's a
honeypot?
Yes, but in chess, that's like one of the top 3 main things you're supposed to be kind of doing all the time. Trying to set shit like that up. There's one where it's like this, where you try to drag somebody in, and then there's the other one where you set it up so that when you reveal a piece, the person's vulnerable. Either they take your piece out or you move a piece out of the way, and they didn't realize that you had a whole attack right behind there. It's all got names. Oh, man. I don't know what Rashidi was expecting, but I think we, came in there with a lot. He's expecting kind of he doesn't know what, calling into us on a Saturday morning. And we were like, oh, this is about chess. And, Maggie says everything's got to be exceptional. And, what do you think about Fresh?
I guess we should keep talking about WandaVision.
Okay. Check.
Nice. Okay. Well, I can still technically cast it. I mean, not right now, but I have that option.
I guess I got it. What are you laughing at? Me saying the word check?
Yeah, quietly.
I'll murder you. Check, with respect.
So, okay, what happens in WandaVision? It was still, to me, unclear who was controlling the town.
Okay, that's a great question. I think that's a core question. And if there's any little light details we want to talk about before we get into it, obviously there's like crazy FBI guy doing his wackadoodle bullshizer. There's Vision fighting Vision, which is interesting, bizarre. The only thing I don't like about White Vision is the way he's brought to us. The way he...
I also thought he looked like the silly robot from Bill and Ted 3.
I like White Vision like you're saying, but I'm just saying, like, the fact that they just held him back, you never see, like, oh, they're working on a different vision, or they're putting his pieces back together, or... Until he shows up kind of ready to go getting a paint job.
Yeah.
Anyway, nice.
Nope.
Check.
Thought it was a good move. Split second there.
Ooh, baby, this is looking good for me. All right, let's keep talking a little bit more while we set up the next game and stuff.
I just can't even... Dude, I don't know. To me, that last episode, it didn't ruin the whole show.
No.
But I would say I almost don't care about any of it anymore.
Yeah. I mean, look, as far as answers go, like Maggie was asking me, just specifics, like why was it a sitcom thing? And there were answers to that. That shit was answered. Mm-hmm. That's the her.
It was answered in the most obvious way possible.
Yes.
The most expected way.
They watched a lot of sitcoms.
Yeah.
When she was a kid.
Right.
Sure, fine. But like some of the bigger questions, the biggest question since we're about to, not be talking about this.
Yeah.
Can we just talk about the kids for a second? How fucked up. Okay. In the end, to finish processing your grief, obviously, I think we knew episodes ago she's going to have to, like, eventually everybody in the town is going to get released, and she's going to have to say goodbye to this vision that she's created for her grief processing. She's going to have to say goodbye to him. And probably it's going to come down to, like, either them having a conversation about it and him deteriorating and, you know, falling into pieces and then saying goodbye in a painful way.
Right.
Or him having to talk her into it, or jump off some kind of, you know, cliff.
Yeah.
In that sense. And you know, that's kind of basically how it went down. But the thing I couldn't understand is, like, what the kids were for and how they were going to fare in this.
They were almost served no purpose.
Right. And then at the end, they had to do something awful, say goodnight to them, tuck them into bed, and leave them in the bedrooms to die, to go from...
That's not how I saw it.
To not exist anymore, to go from not existing to not existing. But, like...
To me, it felt like they were existing in this nebulous reality where they never really existed. And Wanda was stepping out of that reality, but they still were there.
She was always going to have to say goodbye to Vision at the end of this. So to bring the kids into it just meant that she was also always now going to have to say goodbye to them too. And Vision exists or doesn't exist, as he kind of puts it, in all these different ways. And you can kind of feel good about that. Maybe he's going to come back. Maybe White Vision is going to be him or whatever, or not feel good about it. Maybe he's gone forever. But it's fucked up that they brought these kids in just to do that. And then they had to Disneyfy it where you couldn't even see the kids go. They allude earlier in the episode to that the kids are going to, like, disintegrate, but then they come back together for a few scenes, and then they tuck the kids into bed and, like, close the door and say goodnight to them as the whole thing is collapsing. And that's it. I mean, at the end they do this other thing. A, it's Disneyfied, so you don't even get to feel what the whole point of it was because it's just tucking them into bed and closing the door. But B, it's double Disneyfied because, like, you hear their voices from another dimension.
That's what I'm saying.
The very end. But no, that's just some fucked up shit. That makes no sense. There's no way they exist. They don't exist. They never existed.
I think even the second she just said, I thought even before they had to go away, I thought they were going to continue existing in another reality. And I think that makes sense.
I don't.
I think they, from a sci-fi perspective, they have to go somewhere.
Yeah, I don't think that. I guess from a like a Hollywood perspective, they kind of do. I don't know, man. Why keep them alive? Why kill them? Why have them at all? I don't understand any of it. I just think it dirtied things up. And I mean, was it just so Agnes had somebody to kidnap a few times?
Right. I mean, that's what it seemed like to me. To me, I have no problem with them being alive. I would have a bigger problem if they weren't alive in any context.
Hold on, I'm just gonna check this, but we're not switching over yet. We're staying on WandaVision. Just check this framing for this. All right, back to this for now. But okay, the kids, fine. Put it all aside. Great, good enough.
So it ends. It turns out. I guess Wanda somehow contains some of the power of the Mind Stone from when she touched it.
I thought that part was unnecessary and confusing.
Well, I think that was how she was able to recreate Vision.
Okay.
I mean, convoluted, yes.
I was hoping she just created him from her own internal memories and passion, but, like, whatever.
But I think he was somewhat real.
Do we need the Mind Stone for that? But okay, fine.
But
and who even can tell if the Mind Stone exists or doesn't exist? That whole part of it doesn't even... We don't know that either, really. Like,
destroyed.
Right, so how's she using it?
No. She... The stone itself was destroyed, but she still has some of the power. It makes sense.
Okay.
It does.
Okay. I'm saying it's not necessary. It's unnecessarily convoluted, maybe, but sure.
Well, it also had to awaken her Scarlet Witch power, which I guess, according to Agnes, was an ancient magic, like, you know, whatchamacallit, a mantle that's passed down.
Yeah. I want to buy that. I want to like believe that. I mean, I do believe it, but just I want to feel that more as an audience member.
Yeah. So then she ends up getting something that resembles her Scarlet Witch costume from the comics, and I didn't like it at all.
I enjoyed the costume.
A lot of people did. To me, it looked way too slick and modern.
Too superhero, not witchy enough?
It didn't look witchy at all.
Uh-huh.
It looked like completely like a superhero costume, and that's a problem I have with the Marvel movies is that it looks like every costume was designed by the same person, and I'm sure it was, but they shouldn't look like they were,
right?
Because they weren't in the movies. How come Thor's costume looks the same as Captain America's? Thor's was designed by
an Asgardian,
ancient elves or something.
Right.
Captain America's was designed by some guy in the 1940s.
Right.
But they all look like they're Ant-Man's suit is designed by. They all look like they're designed by the same person.
Yeah. It's funny, yeah. I was looking at that as a good parallel in a way because Vision doesn't look that different from Iron Man.
Exactly.
In a way.
Oh, none of them look that different.
Even their color palettes.
Yes.
Right.
Like if you look at the Justice League, and we don't have to get into all the problems with that movie, but I'd say it looked like all those characters had costumes that were designed by different people.
Sort of, yeah.
I'd say Batman's costume looked like his thing, and then, like Superman's costume and Wonder Woman's costume looked completely different.
Mm-hmm.
And if they were made by whoever produces these Marvel movies, I feel like Superman and Wonder Woman would look almost indistinguishable. But Superman, it's got that like alien, sticky, plasticky thing, and then Wonder Woman looks like it's like a metal armor.
Anyway, you didn't love Wanda's costume.
No, I was disappointed.
What I didn't love was not understanding, is it or is it not Agnes all along?
Yeah.
That's the thing. Because I loved when it was Agnes all along, and even though there had been some rumors to that effect, when it came down in the episode 6 or whatever, I was like, fuck yeah, this is awesome. And Agnes is controlling the whole thing. Agnes is maybe somehow channeling Wanda's powers to some evil ends, and Wanda's grief power combo.
He's like taking advantage of it in some way.
Yeah.
Almost, not necessarily mind controlling her, but...
Right. Funneling her.
Yeah.
And I thought that was awesome.
And then they muddled it.
A little fuzzy about, was it Agnes? Does Agnes have control over anything? Not just the fact that she wound up losing, like, the battle, but more like, was it Agnes? In the sense of, like, was it Agnes making her control all these townspeople? Or did she spring up and, like, in her grief start controlling all the townspeople and playing out her... No, because Agnes was there from episode 1 as a character in the town. So, like, there's no way that was a coincidence that, this powerful witch just happened to be her next door neighbor. So, like, did Wanda build this grief verse for herself, and then Agnes came in and started taking advantage of it, or did Agnes make her do that? It seems like Agnes made her do that. Why would she have been there since day 1 if she wasn't involved?
Right. I think...
But how?
She could have been an all-timer of a villain. And then I felt like once they went into her backstory, it would have been awesome, but it wasn't. It could have been something awesome, but her backstory was just... She was a witch, and she wanted to use darker magic than the other witches in her coven, and they didn't like that.
Yeah.
And that was it.
And they tried to shut her down, and she killed them all.
That's not that interesting. I thought it would have been...
Yeah.
You could do a million things with that.
Right.
A witch.
But it's almost like, so what did she do? She waited around for a couple hundred years for Wanda to arrive, and then, like, waited for Wanda to have the right combination of personal grief, trauma,
or she was just waiting around for something she could take advantage of.
Mm-hmm. And so she was standing by for Wanda to return after a 5-year absence in a different universe and come back grieving like the dead.
You're right. What happened to Wanda after she was snapped into oblivion?
It's problematic. It didn't have to be.
No.
It didn't have to be. They didn't have to go so complicated with it. They didn't. They could have kept some of these core ideas and not fuzzed this all out. Oh man, they fucked it up, and too much of it became about laser blasts and magic power blasts and manipulating her feelings for these kids that is totally unclear. And I know she has a maternal affection for the kids, but like also those kids were like literally popped up.
Well, that's what I was saying about you when you were saying like she has to They're skirting over the grief she might have to go through of getting rid of those kids. Has she known them for more than 3 days? Or
she hasn't, but maybe 6 days, but no. And in the sense of do they matter as pawns that Agnes is using against her? It seems to me there are times where she's really worried about the kids, and even Vision is worried about the kids, and other times where the kids ain't nowhere to be found and ain't nobody asking nothing about them. So I don't understand. Anyway. To me, that's where it kind of fell apart. I still love it.
I still love the episodes I loved.
I'm not even trying to look at it as episodes. I'm trying to look at it as this thing that they did. Because the first 3 episodes, there's no way to not hate their guts if you try to look at them as individual episodes. You have to hate their guts. and I don't want to because I like them and I like what's happening. And I think, okay, to set the table for 3 hours.
They were half-hour episodes.
All right, you ready to do this? All right, let's talk a little bit more about our final thoughts on WandaVision. And I do think we're going to keep talking about WandaVision. I don't think this is our last conversation about WandaVision. But specifically episode 9 and, as a specific thing before we start including it in our larger discussions about the Marvel Universe and all that.
After Avengers Endgame, I saw that Spider-Man movie and I didn't like it and I thought, it's done. I'm not interested in this anymore. They ended it, basically. I'll always see another Thor or another Guardians of the Galaxy. But then I was like, oh, they're doing this kind of thing. Maybe I'm back on board for Marvel. But
no. All right. Say some more stuff. I have a closing thought I want to say when I'm...
Maybe the Loki show will be good. I don't know. Mm-hmm. I do not care about another Captain America show or a Black Widow movie.
That Captain America show is going to have to be so good.
To me, that and the Black Widow movie seem like the exact same thing.
Yeah, I know.
It's just punching and kicking and car chases and whatever.
I'm staying open-minded because WandaVision was so much better than I ever thought it could be or was going to be.
WandaVision was what I thought it would be, though.
Episode 9 was what I was afraid it was going to be.
Uh-huh.
But a lot of the stuff was not at all what I thought it was going to be. And I do think, on an emotional level, it was surprisingly effective.
Yes, and I will say, I already said this earlier, but how much Wanda and the Vision were the most boring characters in those movies, and how much I really, really loved them by the end of the show, or by the 4th episode.
Yeah. But I am saying, I don't think they shied away from the core elements about, in the middle of the season, they didn't shy away from the grief aspect.
No.
Which I thought was really unusually brave. It was kind of Pixarian of them to, kind of do that dive and live there in a real way. In a superhero way. But, here's what I'm going to say. It's almost an inverse Mandalorian. Which is my favorite move, the inverse Mandalorian. That's what I'm about to do to you. If you take the Mandalorian, it's kind of like the bookends, even within episodes and within seasons. It's like the beginning thing and the end thing are dope. And then a lot of the middle stuff is like, what? In this, it was the reverse. And that almost means the tentpole moments are these, finding Baby Yoda at the end of the first season.
Right.
Or introducing the whole concept at the beginning of the first season. And then in the middle, it's kind of very light storytelling. Very light. Say what you will about the individual episodes. And it's nice when What's-Her-Name shows up and they karate chop a lot and lightsaber it up. Or whatever. But Luke Skywalker, Baby Yoda, those moments are the big, good feeling payoffy moments of The Mandalorian. It's not the storytelling in the middle.
You're right. It's the action and the...
Yeah, and this was kind of the opposite.
Yes.
Kind of fell apart on the action-y, kind of the satisfying, whoa moments. Those weren't as awesome.
Spectacle moments.
But the guts
the minutia of it,
in the middle was quite respectably done, Not just the trauma aspects, but the complex weave of the storyline was really cool. And even I didn't love all the FBI stuff, but structurally,
that stupid.
Structurally speaking, they wove it in really well. That's what I'll say. I love WandaVision and The Mandalorian for almost opposite reasons.
Mm-hmm. That villain, that sea villain or whatever, the sword guy. They don't even have to talk about him. What a lame.
So
character.
unnecessary. Talking about him gives him more oxygen than he deserves as a character.
However, you didn't always like Randall Park.
Who's that?
The FBI guy. I liked him a lot.
I mean, I just thought he was unnecessary. I thought that's who we were just talking about.
I was talking about the villain. The sword guy who brings White Vision to life.
Yeah.
I'm talking about Randall Park, the
the FBI guy. Yeah. Yes, of course. Yeah, no, he was great. In the end, again, looking at it, there were some individual moments where I was like, same with what's her name from Thor. But like,
I liked her a lot more, I have to say. She was somewhat annoying in the Thor movies, and I've barely seen any of Two Broke Girls, and that's not her fault because I think the writing is definitely the problem with that show, but I think she's annoying in that. Oh, but she's really funny in The 40-Year-Old Virgin when she's like a teenager.
Yeah.
But I liked her a lot in this.
I feel a little bad because last week I said, at first she came out a little too heavy-handed for me, and then they kind of attenuated that. And in a way, that's not a cool thing to say about a woman character. It's kind of like she was a little too loud for me, and then they turned her down, and then I felt better about it. I didn't want it to come across that way. Anyway, when I was watching last week's stream, I kind of felt like that wasn't the tone I was trying to hit with that comment. But whatever. I thought she was great in these last episodes, but she did so much less. It's kind of like I'm feeding.
That was another problem I had. Was that I started to like those side characters, that trio of Randall Park and Kate McKin. What's her name? Kat Dennings and Captain Marvel's friend's daughter. Those three I started to really like, and then they basically dropped those characters.
Captain Marvel's friend's daughter. What? Why? She's so good. She's so underused.
Yeah.
What is her power?
Right.
Does she have power? Can she help?
She has power.
She has power.
Bullets.
Can she help in this situation? Oh yeah, that's right. She dove in front of the bullets. That was a cool moment with the kids too.
Right. Well, that was another thing I was going to say. Is how are those kids even in danger? Like that kid. Well, the kid has blue magic, I guess.
In the same way, the brother could never have gotten killed in Age of Ultron.
Well, you know what I did find interesting about Age of Ultron is that he got out of breath. Like, he had to catch his breath a lot.
Oh.
Which I think the X-Men guy, that's not even a factor for him.
Yeah, but still, he knows to, catch your breath after you move this person. And his thing is moving people. It's not getting in front of bullets.
I'm saying I think he's not as powerful. Like, he can't literally move the bullets out of the way like the other guy. I mean, that must be it. Otherwise,
that's one of the cool things about having that power.
That's what I'm saying.
Flash has that power.
Right.
Everybody has that power that moves fast.
Does Flash have the power, though, to have time go in slow motion like that?
I mean, they're just showing it from the POV of the fast-moving person.
But to him,
that's what it's like for them.
But I'm saying part of his mutant ability is that his mind.
He can perceive it that way.
Yeah.
I mean, without the mutant mind, you're just experiencing it that way. When you're moving as fast as a bullet, you're experiencing that bullet moving slowly, no matter what your mind
But
is.
I'm saying I think he's just not as fast in the mind or the body.
Yeah.
He's just not as, he's not a mutant technically, so it's not part of his DNA or some shit.
Yeah. All right. Let's do our fast round. Something about Twitch, you can only put one thing you're about. And I think it's a misrep in a way to put, if you're looking for chess, this isn't the place to come. And so, but I don't know how
maybe we could put brunch or something.
Look through some of the categories and tell me if you think there's a better one that we could be using. And hey, if fans have any suggestions, we're wide open.
All right, I give WandaVision overall, the whole series, big thumbs up.
Yeah, I put it in the high 8s out of 10.
I'd say it could have been something that I would have put in the top tier of my favorite Marvel movies.
Yeah.
And it didn't reach that.
I give it an extra point, half a point to a point, just for how experimental it was.
Mm-hmm.
How
I
outside,
give it a lot of points for
how
that.
hard it is to do things outside the box.
A lot of people didn't like it, especially early on, and I hope Marvel keeps doing things that some people might not like.
Yeah. I mean, look, if you're Disney and you're going to do something experimental, you're going to end it with something that is not experimental to kind of make sure you're bringing the audience. So, I don't know. I don't know what to say about those first 3 episodes. It's a lot to think about. It's a lot to process. Maybe we can, on our Wednesday night, have some other guests on, some Ben Acker, and kind of talk about those first 3 and whether or not it's just okay to do that to an audience.
If you're going to binge the show, it would probably play a lot better.
Maybe.
If you're not going to be like, all right, what happens next week? Nothing. All right, what happens next week? Nothing again. Okay. Should I even keep watching this?
Right.
So far, nothing's happened.
Right.
But I'd say, by episode 4, everything starts happening.
Well, episode 4, now you're just trying to reorient yourself.
Yeah.
And then, I don't know, to me, you've got like a 5, 6, 7 zone that's solid gold.
Solid gold.
And,
yes. 5, 6, 7. 5 was the 80s, or the 90s, I guess, when Vision starts thinking stuff is weird. And
yeah.
6 was the Malcolm in the Middle, early 2000s. And then 7 was the Modern Family one.
Yeah.
Yeah. 5, 6, 7. Yeah.
6 was when he like goes to work and the guy's like, "Please help us."
No. Yeah.
Or that was 5, maybe.
That might have been 5.
If it was 5, it's surprising that it took till 7 for him to like start taking some action. But I guess he's so disoriented, he doesn't even know who he is.
Know who he is. Yeah.
Right. That's one of the fascinating things about the whole, like, everything involving Vision, Age of Ultron, as you were pointing out, is like birth of a AI.
Yeah.
It's like, wait a minute, I wasn't a few minutes ago, and now I am, and now I'm trying to take things in, and like basically instantly forming a personality. Fucking cool.
Could have been explored way more in something better.
Yeah.
I'd say Ultron, not a complex villain, but charismatic and enjoyable. James Spader, I think, is a great choice.
Oh, great. That works. Yeah.
Remind me to show you Ultron California. If you're watching and you like comedy, check out Ultron California on YouTube.
What's that movie we saw with Poe Dameron and
Ex Machina?
Yes. That's the kind of movie that explores those kinds of questions.
Yeah, Marvel's never gonna.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
Yeah. I'm saying it did tiptoe towards that, which was nice. Yeah.
Right.
All right.
It was deep. It's deep. That's deep shit. When you're starting to talk about AI and whatever, the morals around it all.
I mean, the morals around, when Facebook created that AI that started talking to itself in its own language that they couldn't decode, and they just pulled the plug on it.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, you probably should do that, but also, is it right to do that?
Well, look, I don't think we have, as a society, put in the moral.
No.
Had the conversation, about AI. So
if we always be an ongoing.
If you start growing something in a petri dish, and all of a sudden, tentacles start coming out, you do have to.
Right.
You do have to. Shut it down if you don't understand it.
Yeah.
Unfortunately. And we are playing with things that are beyond our ability to control at this point. And you can sniff around, and then as you start to understand what it might be able to be, then hopefully we can put some moral bumpers into place, some guardrails into place. I don't know if as a society we're ready to have those kinds of conversations, but
I feel like we're one mistake away from an Ultron.
Definitely.
Not literally an army of robots, but an AI that takes over.
You don't know. Yeah, if this thing starts replicating itself quickly and exponentially growing in intelligence beyond us.
Right.
Like there's Her, the movie Her.
Yeah.
And that's the benevolent version of hey, okay, we've, this AI has gotten to this point. We're just going to go off into the universe now and adios humans. That's the best you can hope for.
Sure. But it could be anything.
I mean, in a way...
an AI could develop any personality.
In a way, once an AI starts growing really fast, it almost doesn't need to wipe out humanity. It's almost like...
Whatever, what if it...
I mean, that's us thinking it cares.
Or what if an AI is just say Ultron's mission was to save the world or whatever. What if a robot determines that humans are too much of a plague on the planet and they're just logically... Just wipe it out. We need to save the planet.
I just heard Elon Musk was kind of saying it's more like you're trying to build a freeway and there's an anthill.
Yeah.
And if the anthill's not in your way, you're not going to knock it over. And if it is in your way, you're not even going to think about it. Yeah, you're not even going to think about it. You're not even going to think about it if it's in your way. You're just going to run over it.
But then also, if the ants are tearing down your house, then you're probably going to want to take care of the ants.
Yeah. And it is a question of, if you're an AI, do you just take care of all ants?
Yeah.
Or do you take care of the ants that are affecting you? Or,
I'm just saying, I'm saying an AI could think that.
Yeah, no, I hear you. Dude, we took it there today.
I know.
Whew.
All right, let's play this last round.
My brain is hurting. All right, everybody. Last round. I used to have a round 3. I don't think I have a separate screen for that. But here we go. Round 3 with the clock. All right, can we put this up just a little bit so we can see the buttons? You know I like to see the buttons.
Yes.
Fun day, roasted chestnuts. Last week, by the way, I don't think I put up. I think the YouTube didn't go up, so I'll be putting that up today. All right, I guess when I say I'm ready is when we hit it.
All right.
And I thought I let one of these wind down, but they both seem to be working, so hopefully it's all good. Cool. All right, I'm ready. For some reason I didn't see that coming.
Check. No. Sorry.
It's hard to switch colors for some reason.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just crazy.
Oh, what was I?
I'm sorry. I'm sorry to have to do that.
I just lost.
Oh, wow. Think about Samuel
I'm really
Jackson.
confused about the switching of the colors.
I am still confused about it.
Whatever. I thought this was my knight and I was protecting my queen.
Well, Samuel Jackson would...
I fucked up so bad. I seriously don't know how I can come back from that. I had a plan that I was working out.
Dude, I will restart this game right now if you want to. Alright, just regroup, slow it down.
I have like 2 pieces left. You're 5 seconds in.
Probably doesn't help to have this microphone. Oh, wait, sorry. Facing right towards the fan.
What fan?
This computer fan.
Oh, yeah.
everybody. Thanks for joining us for
another fun episode of Roasted Chest.
Oh man,
what fucked up so bad.
I'm so sorry.
My brain had a short.
Yes, it happens. I think maybe we should have restarted.
Yeah, maybe we should have. It's fine. Maybe we should have. I'm not a big believer in that, but
if you have a total brain fart,
whatever.
It's a friendly game.
Well, this is not the friendly game. That's why.
Right.
Who won? We got a comment. Who won? That guy.
I won it. I'm the dad of the dad-son combo here, so...
the sun must have moved behind me throughout the course of this game because I think I was pretty well lit before, and now I'm super backlit.
As I was kind of saying last week when you went to the bathroom, it's such a mixed thing to crush, defeat, it's roundly your own flesh and blood. Anyway, fun episode today. I won. We're kicking off March. It was a fun day. We covered so much ground.
We did. Had a lot of good discussions.
We talked about Fresh with Rashidi. We talked extensively about Wanda and her universe. And I don't know. I thought it was a cool day. I feel terrible that it ended like this.
My fault.
It's not your fault. This happens to the best of us. Hey, friend, here's what we're going to do. We're going to be back here Wednesday night, and I'm going to play against some others. This is a format where really we just kind of try to play each other on a weekend morning.
You're just here to join us for our amazing conversations.
But come back Wednesday night, and I'm going to play. I'm going to play against some people online and stuff like that. So I would love to play you. I think 7 o'clock Pacific time. I'm just going to throw that down right now.
Cool.
Wednesday night, 7 o'clock Pacific time on the Roasted Chestnuts.
It's a date Wednesday.
Indy might be in, he might be out. I don't know. But I'm going to do it on the Roasted Chestnuts.
10th.
And play a little chess with some people and talk about some stuff and whatever. I'm sorry. You're a great opponent. And, I appreciate you.
Appreciate you too.
And, all right, everybody. Should we log this off? WandaVision? Fresh? Oh, movie for next week.
Oh.
We'll confirm this on Wednesday or whatever. Maybe I'll watch it by Wednesday. But, out of these... Look, Fresh is on there. Out of these, we've watched a few of them now. Jerry's Game and The Seventh Seal. This caught my eye. I mean, who knows what it's about?
Kind of sounds super boring.
Okay.
But we'll see. We'll look into this.
What do you think? Let's pick one right now.
I mean, I love Tobey Maguire.
Great. I've always wanted to see that one.
All right. Pawn Sacrifice?
Pawn Sacrifice, 2013 or something? What's that from?
Maybe 15.
Does it not say on there?
No. We also might watch Coming to America. To America.
Yeah. But Pawn Sacrifice will be our big movie, at least for round 1 next week, and then round 2 TBD. Oh, round 2 Coming to America.
Sure. It's still...
All right, everybody. Lots of love. Thanks for
everyone. Thanks for checking in.
Yeah.